You're now on a mountain.
This is epic.
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew.
Do the do.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
With 70.5 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes, the Nathan's famous 4th of July champion of the world, Joey Chestnut!
A 1-2. Soto hits one high in the air, deep left center field. Bellinger is back, turning, looking, gone! Juan Soto ties the game with a 2-run home run to left center. The fireworks coming early on the 4th of July.
I feel like Rusty played a cruel joke on me. Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. Welcome. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is here.
Yes. All 10 fingers, all 10 toes.
It was a tame 4th of July. I'll explain in a second why it was tame and what we did. The first highlight was not really a highlight because is there play-by-play for the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
I'll tell you what, the intros, though, were a work of art.
Well, I didn't,
it was fantastic.
as you might expect, I did not watch. But
Yeah.
you watch,
I did. I watched it all.
well, you watch competitive fighting.
Yes.
You watch combat.
Yes.
I don't.
Which
So
there was PFL this weekend. Pleasant surprise. Was very excited for that. So.
What is PFL? Pro Fight League? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's kind of like UFC, but not. It's a subset of it. So.
Gotcha.
But it was good. It was early. I didn't have to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch it. That
Very
was
nice.
great.
Was it in the United States?
No, it was in Belgium. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
According to what I read, the plan is to have a July 4th UFC card next year
Right.
on the White House lawn.
Yes. And also, extra speculation, John Jones is now trying to, because he can't stay out of.
Didn't he just
out of
retire?
He did, but I guess since that came up, he's like, oh, well, I mean, I'll come out of retirement. No, it's okay. Just stay there.
Just go to the Easter egg roll.
Just stay there.
Instead, if you really want to go and hang out on the White House lawn.
Go to rehab.
Just do that. Well, you know more about that than I. All right, a little bit of housekeeping. We're on YouTube. And search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. You'll find us either way. Every show is live on the interwebs. And there's also a podcast that we spit out after this whole thing is over if you just want to download that. But if you subscribe to both, I mean, you don't miss anything.
Yeah. No.
Why would you want to miss it?
You don't.
So there's that. So real quick, we talked about the hot dog eating contest on Thursday, which was our Friday because we weren't here Friday.
Yes.
Because we were all getting ready to watch Joey Chestnut eat 70 and a half hot dogs.
Yes, he almost beat his previous record of 71. He did not. And you can see it immediately.
What's with the half of a hot dog?
Yeah, I guess he
Was
could
he
only
just go, I'm kind of full.
Yeah, he's like, no, I could. He tried. The last second, he tried. But I don't know if there was like a bun left over and that was the half. or I don't know how they actually gauged this, I think. But yeah, you could see it in his face that he was bummed he couldn't do one more to break his own record.
It's too bad. And he came out of, sort of retirement.
Yeah,
right?
sort of, yeah.
He had the endorsement deal with the Impossible Dog, which is a meatless hot dog, and Nathan's, which honestly, this day and age, we should have a meatless division. Does it really matter
Yeah, I know. It's still
I would
food.
need. I'm going to put you on this, Victoria.
Okay.
We need not a competitive eating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause I would lose.
Expert. No.
Oh,
not an expert, but a nutritionist to explain to us why Nathan's just couldn't have a meatless hot dog
Oh, I could tell you that. We don't need
instead
an
of a
expert.
regular all beef hot dog.
I am sure that. Oh, you mean like Nathan's come out with their mystery
like
meat hot
if
dog?
Nathan's, well, I mean, it's chemically
Processed,
engineered
whatever
meat.
stuff.
So it's so people can, like, it's not enough for people to be a vegetarian or vegan.
Right.
Right. They need the idea, like, we have these Impossible Whoppers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've had one, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. It's
Put cheese on it. I'm good.
yeah. You have to. I think you have to doctor it up, but it doesn't matter. People eat them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they can't go without
Yeah.
a what?
I know.
Really?
I
So
know.
whatever. Doesn't matter. But I would be curious why Nathan's wouldn't just allow Joey Chestnut to be a part of the contest without having to eat a regular hot dog. If he just ate a meatless hot dog. And did he really go like vegan? Meatless for a year or 2 years.
No.
He was absent from the contest for 2 years, right?
He followed. No, just one.
Just one?
He followed the money. That's
Who won?
why.
Who won the contest the year he was not there?
Some guy. Oh, I have this somewhere. I could tell you, but there was some other guy. He
He'll be
also
a footnote in history.
he was there this weekend, but he
Oh,
did
was
not
he?
win. Yeah.
Oh, so he participated.
He participated, but he lost.
Did he
which
finish second at
we all
least?
knew. Probably. I'd have to see the results.
Was
but
there pari-mutuel wagering for this? I'm curious.
I know. I was tempted to make a bet. I was really close.
I was not.
To making a bet.
I was
did
not tempted
I did not make
to
a
make
bet.
a wager. I believe the total was 70.5.
Yeah, Joey was like a favorite by a landslide.
Of course. Of course. He's the greatest of all time.
Yes.
Remember when, who was it? Was it Kobayashi?
Maybe?
That was the first hot dog eating champion?
I think so.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I haven't been in the competitive eating game for a minute.
How many hot dogs could you eat?
Like one
Seriously.
and a half.
Seriously,
Maybe
how many hot
two.
dogs could you eat?
Yeah, probably two.
You
Yeah,
do
I
two?
would not. I would lose sorely
Yeah,
at a competitive
absolutely.
eating contest.
Absolutely. There is also a female division of this
Yes.
as well, right?
And Mickey Pseudo.
Mickey.
won. She won last year too. Back
back to back.
those were my bets from last Thursday that they would win.
Oh,
but,
really? Okay,
yeah.
back to back.
Oh yeah.
How many did she eat?
I want to say it was like 50 something, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. She was struggling.
Yeah.
She
It's
had
very
a tough
similar
day.
to the debate about whether the women should play best of 5 sets at Wimbledon.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, how do you take, what's her name again?
Mickey.
Mickey.
Pseudo?
How do you take Mickey Pseudo? How do you take her seriously if she's almost 20 hot dogs behind Joey Chestnut?
I know, but I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
come
smaller
on.
stomachs.
I
So
guess. I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But so I did not watch. I got criticism on Friday, or rather Thursday afternoon. I'm going through my timeline, and somebody is, bitching at me.
hot dog hate. 33 hot dogs. 33 she had. Sorry.
What?
Yeah, I know. It was a disappointing day for her. She still won, but it was only 33.
33?
I think her record's 51. That's what I was thinking. Her record's like 51. She only
Was
got
anybody
33.
else in the contest?
I know. It was a tough day for the ladies' side. Yeah. Not
That's
for Joey,
terrible.
though. I feel like he
That
could
is
have
awful.
given her some because he was winning by like 8,000. So
Like, was she putting mustard and relish on all of them?
maybe. She does this trick where she wipes her face with her sleeve.
That's a
And,
trick?
yeah, and her husband.
My son has perfected that.
I know. Her husband's also a competitive eater because it's a family affair. And so he said that once he saw her do that early on, he knew it was she was having
done.
a tough day.
She was
done.
done.
She was having a tough day. Poor Mickey.
I got nothing for that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Anyway, so I got this guy in my timeline angry at me
Oh, no.
because I was dissing competitive eating. I said, No, I just said I wouldn't watch it because it's gross. Yeah. I would never watch. Like, I'm not telling you not to watch it.
Yeah.
I will never tell anybody to not or to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a long-standing, this is my belief. It's not my job to tell you what to do or what not to do. I just said I would never watch it because it grosses me out.
It is gross.
And yeah, I just don't get it. But so he goes, I have to sit here and listen to you talk about hockey and soccer, and you won't, like, dude, you don't have to.
No.
You really don't.
No.
You have options.
There are options.
I think. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You should just listen to my 7th inning where I talk about people stuffing their face with that
It's
stuff.
fine. It's all good. To each his own.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It was good times.
So meanwhile, we're going to talk about hockey and soccer and really not competitive eating.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started.
All right, before we actually get started, I binge watched a show on July 4th.
Okay, it's a good time to do it.
We did Department Q on Netflix. Cannot recommend it more highly.
I have to Google this right now because I've never heard of this. Oh,
Yes.
It's a thriller.
It is
I love
a thriller. It is a thriller. 9 episodes. We knocked out 2 Thursday night on the 3rd, and then we had one of the all-time lazy July 4th days. It was hot.
I know.
We didn't want to go back outside.
Yeah.
We were outside in the morning. We didn't want to go back out. 7 episodes. Boom.
Nice.
Done. So
Nice.
there we go. That was we looked at each other when it was all over and went, that was gross.
Yeah, let's watch the hot dog eating contest.
No, that never happened. Luckily, the hot dog eating contest was over by that point. All right, but on Thursday, before we got out of here, you played the breaking news sounder.
Yes.
Kevin Weeks with his phone camera above his head, so you just see the top of his head.
Just his forehead.
Absolutely hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Weeks telling us that we were getting Nikolaj Ehlers would be coming to the Carolina Hurricanes, which was very good. 6 years, $8.5 million free agent contract, 10 years with the Winnipeg Jets. 8 of those 10 years, he had at least 20 goals. The only seasons he did not were his rookie season, where he had 15, and then the 22-23 season, where he missed 37 games due to injury. Now, injury has been an issue for Ehlers. He has only played at least 70 games 5 times in his 10 years, and we had 2 shortened seasons, and he wasn't really on pace to get to 70 in either of those 2 seasons, I believe. So it remains to be seen whether or not he is going to be able to give Carolina 80 games, 75 games. Either way, he's an excellent offensive player. He's fast. He can finish. He's creative. Should help on the power play. Now, Nick, who met, I call him Nick because I've always called him Nick.
Right.
He met the media via Zoom. He was in Denmark. He is Danish, much like Frederik Andersen. That'll come up in a minute. He was asked, what is it about his skill set that makes him a good fit?
I think my speed, the stress game that Carolina plays in the sense when they don't have the puck, for example, trying to get the puck back as quick as possible. I think my speed, I'm able to do that. I think my speed, I can create a lot of room for the other guys as well. And I believe that, I will fit in very nicely. And that's obviously something you look at as well when you try to make a decision. But, I talked to Rod and we had kind of the same vision about how things are going to go. And again, the talks that I've had with the people in the Canes organization is something that really excited me.
Yeah, I mean, look, he should fit in very nicely. We'll get to the bigger picture in a minute. Here's Ehlers. I mentioned Frederik Andersen, a fellow Dane. They'll both be part of the Danish Olympic team for next winter, and he's ready to play in front of his buddy.
that guy. So we are very familiar. I'm excited to play with him. He's been a great goalie throughout his NHL career. So we've obviously talked. He called me as quick as soon as he heard the news. And we got the Olympics coming up in February as well. So it'll be a very special year, I think. To have him as well there to help me, get integrated as quickly as possible and show me around the city and so on will obviously help a lot. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun to play with another Danish guy.
That's very cool. I am just trying to picture in my mind Frederik Andersen rushing to do anything, rushing to call Nick Ehlers, or being excited, visibly excited about something. I'm just having a hard time processing.
It's difficult.
That whole thing. Friend of the program, Martin Biron, who was an NHL goaltender for about almost 2 decades, likes Ehlers here.
I like the fit for the Carolina Hurricanes. And look, the Carolina Hurricanes play a style of hockey with Rod Brindamore that's heavy on the forecheck, and they want puck possession in the offensive zone. A lot of shots, a lot of shot attempts, right? They always do that. And Nick Ehlers, not that he's great on the forecheck, but he's great in zone, creating the cycle, attacking the slot. I think it fit perfectly in Carolina. And look, Carolina, they took a chance 2 years ago with Jake Gensel at the deadline. They lost him, right? And that's a trade, but he walked to free agency. They took a chance with Mikko Rantanen this year, and then they had to trade him. Wasn't going to sign. But I think if you sign Nick Ehlers, that's long-term, and you know that he will stay with you. He's not going to be able to walk away. So that's what the Carolina Hurricanes have to do now, is take that chance. I like the fit. Look, Washington, I think, would be a great story. But if you're Nick Ehlers and you want to win, I think you're looking at Carolina. I think Washington's going to take a step back, and the fanfare, the whole Ovi thing is not as important this year. It was great last year. So I think Carolina's a perfect fit. Having Ehlers, and not only Ehlers on Carolina with Ehlers, I think it works great. So, I would like him to remain with the Jets, but I don't see that really happening. I think Carolina is probably the team that Ehlers is trying to figure it out. Probably still work to do, but I like his fit with the Hurricanes.
So do we. Apparently, so does Nick Ehlers. So do the Carolina Hurricanes. That obviously was before the news came down. So Martin Biron, who played with Buffalo, the Rangers, a bunch of other teams as well. So, and he's of course a friend of this program.
And a great accent.
I love
I love hearing him talk.
But he was fun. We had him on during the playoffs. He was legitimately just fun to talk with. I had somebody hit me up on Twitter. I guess it was after I did a couple of podcasts. I didn't do one immediately after the Ehlers deal was signed. We did it yesterday. And somebody said, I really wish Carolina would get a legitimate top 10 goaltender. And I hate to break this to you, but Frederik Andersen is a legitimate top 10 goaltender. It's when healthy. That's the issue. When healthy, Carolina has a legitimate top 10 goaltender. I can't help you if you don't believe that. I just can't. But he is a legitimate top 10 goalie when healthy. The trick is keeping him that way.
Yes.
So here's the one thing, and this will be it, and then we move on to a couple of other things we're going to talk about here. I went into the offseason, and I made a list of the priorities for Carolina. Center. It's either a center who you could play as your top center or your second center. Doesn't matter. I wanted to see Carolina go get a center. I wanted to see Carolina get a top right defenseman to play with Jacob Slavin. They needed a scoring winger, or scoring. If you could get scoring from either of those first two things I talked about, awesome. And they needed to get more. They needed to get tougher, okay? And they addressed the scoring part with Nick Ehlers, but we are still really, they didn't get a center yet. and they didn't get a right defenseman. Now, we talked about this. It's very possible that they'll just bump the two righties they've got and move Gostisbehere over to his right side initially, probably to play with Alexander Nikishin on a third pair. So getting a top right pair defenseman might not be that important, but I will say that I still think it's important. I think that part of it is important, and getting a center is important. So while Carolina is better today than they were at the end of the season, they're just, even though you add Keandre Miller, who I think will be excellent for Carolina, and Nick Ehlers, who again I think will be really good, I think that you're still a long way from being where you want to be. As I look at the date on July 7th, Carolina will not start the season until the second week in October. Time! You've got time. 3 months to figure it out. And actually, you have longer. Because you don't have to have every element of your team going for the start of the season. You know, I'm not saying you wait till the trade deadline, but you've got time. So, not everybody's going to win. We're not going to get into December and January and, you know, there'll be 14 teams fighting for playoff spots in the East. It's going to, and the West, it's going to play itself out. There will be opportunities for Carolina to address their issues via the trade market as we get later on. There's a lot of things to talk about. I will say this, the current episode of 32 Thoughts, the podcast, Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukowskis, was eye-opening. They started off with the Hurricanes. Was eye-opening in that there were threats, whether spoken or perceived, of Carolina offer sheeting Evan Bouchard, the defenseman with the Oilers, and Keandre Miller. Bouchard's deal got done quickly in Edmonton, 4 years, $10.5 million per. And apparently Carolina called the Rangers and said, we're going to offer sheet Keandre Miller, so why don't we work out a deal? And Carolina and the Rangers worked out a deal. There you go. We'll fill in the blanks. E.J Hradek's going to join us in hour number 2. Elliot Johnson will join us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk a little baseball with him. The All-Star rosters were announced, and apparently there were snubs. It seems like there's 40 players on the rosters for each team.
Yeah, no.
It's hard to have snubs when there are 40 players, or not quite 40, it was like 30-some-odd players on for each league. I also don't know, while we have all of this interleague play, I'm still really not sure why we do the All-Star teams, American and National League, but whatever. That's just me being me. Juan Soto didn't make the team. And Mookie Betts apparently didn't make the team.
Seiya Suzuki did not make the team.
Him. Mm-hmm. He didn't make the team.
Nope.
I don't know who he is. Who is that?
He
Cubs?
currently has, he has 25 home runs and 75 RBIs, I believe. So he's currently tied where Sammy Sosa was back in 2001.
Can he be in the home run derby? No, seriously.
Maybe. He might.
I think we've only got 3 candidates right now, 3 contestants.
Well, they need to get Kyle Tucker in there for that, if that's the case.
Does he want to be there? Because Kyle Tucker is going to be in the All-Star game. So is Pete Crow Armstrong. Look, it's been a minute since I have followed daily Major League Baseball. So I would say where as a kid, I used to know 100% of, I'm not even kidding, I could tell you the rosters of every team in the league and their uniform numbers. Now, I can't even name for you. Like, I'm shocked. I watched Mets Yankees twice over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, like, here comes somebody into a game, and I'm like, who's that? I never heard of this guy before.
Yeah, who's that guy?
Like, isn't Frankie Montas a kid actor?
Maybe.
He was a starting pitcher for the Mets this weekend.
Maybe he was eating hot dogs.
No. Although the Mets wore those ugly City Connect uniforms on Saturday. They're just so bad.
Yeah.
It's just they're an affront, but they're not for me. I get it. Somebody must be buying them. Anyway, All-Star Game rosters are out. Home Run Derby. Right now we've got Ronald Acuna Jr., who will be. It's in Atlanta, so 9 home runs, but he came back. He's only played about half of the first half of the season so far. He's one of the best players in the game. Love to see him in it. Who else is?
Is Polar Bear Pete in there?
No.
Oh, whoa.
He said no. He said no to the.
What?
Cal Raleigh, who's got 33
yeah.
home runs.
Insane.
Florida State guy, by the way. Go ACC. He's got 33 home runs for Seattle. His nickname, he might have the worst nickname or best in maybe history.
Oh.
Big Dumper.
Excuse you?
I got nothing. I don't even understand.
What?
Yeah, that's right. And James Wood from Washington. Speaking of Washington, they fired their general manager and their manager over the weekend because they're no good. I mean, okay. What did you expect? Never mind. So the All-Star Game is all set. And as we break, Elliot Johnson on the other side. U.S. lost to Mexico Gold Cup final match last night. They lose 2-1. There's a lot of people losing their minds over the fact that they lost 2-1, and I don't understand why you would. Mexico's not awesome, but it was an incomplete at best U.S. roster. There might have been 4, maybe 5 players in the lineup who will be contestant or candidates to start when we get to the World Cup. And there were a lot of players who probably won't make the World Cup squad. So I ain't really bothered by losing, but I thought we saw a lot of the same issues we see from the U.S. men's national team, and that is technically, skill-wise, it ain't it. All right, we'll break. Elliot Johnson will join us. We'll talk All-Star Game. We'll talk trade deadline. He is the player to be named later. Next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
When you look at the Carolina Hurricanes right now, at the end of last season to where they are right now, this team has gotten better. Nikolaj Ehlers, 6-year contract, $8.5 million a year. They didn't break the bank, but they got a top-line forward that they needed. Keandre Miller, they got younger, they got faster, they got stronger on the blue line. They got a better team now, but they still have moves they can make.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Last weekend was 4th of July weekend, but have you really started your summer off with a bang? I'm Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan for Law Tigers, and one of my favorite summertime activities is breaking the motorcycle out and enjoying this beautiful weather and longer days. And if you did any traveling this past weekend, then you know you are not the only one with the idea of hitting the road for an adventure. Unfortunately, that creates more opportunity for someone to be distracted while driving and possibly cause an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault. However, if you are ever in this situation, always remember to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too, so they understand everything. They know the value of your bike, your gear, and the investment that you've made. And with Law Tigers, case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update sponsored by Fidelity Wealth Management. Roger Federer on hand at center court to watch Novak Djokovic and Australian Alex de Minaur in the round of 16. Looked like they were headed for a fifth set as de Minaur was up 4-1 in the fourth and had a break point. But Djokovic found another gear, as he often does, winning 5 consecutive games to finish it out. 1-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. His 16th appearance in the quarterfinals. He'll next face Flavio Caboli. Meanwhile, American Ben Shelton, the 10 seed, looking to advance to its first Grand Slam quarterfinal, taking on Lorenzo Sonego. Sonego won the first set 6-3, but Shelton bounced back to take the second set 6-1. They're on serve early in the third. The next match at center court will be on the ladies' side, American Emma Navarro. She will take on the 7 seed Mira Andreeva. With this tennis update, Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it finish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. On Twitter, I guess it was early last week. I don't even remember who did it. They tweeted out a picture of the old school all-star ballots, where they used to go to it. You could only get them at stadiums, right? I'm pretty sure you could only get them at stadiums. And as a kid, I was going to Met games a ton. It was cheap tickets. Literally, you could get a field level ticket for $5. Not even kidding. You get a field box down the right field line or left field line, $5, and it was awesome. And you'd get the All-Star ballot, and they were like, you had to punch a little hole by the player that you wanted, and then you could vote as many times as you wanted. I voted plenty, and you'd stick them in ballot boxes at the stadiums. So I tweeted out, I saw a picture. I only voted in the National League side on Twitter. I mean, I voted in the American League when I was a kid, but and I voted for all Mets who were on the ballot. And if there weren't enough Mets, or if a Met wasn't at a specific position, I would vote for the person I thought was the best at that position. It's pretty simple. So I actually listed my ballot when I did it. They were like, you could get hanging chads. Right, because sometimes you would poke the little slot, and you didn't completely, dislodge that from the card. It was awesome. It was very old school, and it made me feel nostalgic about the game. I am curious, Elliot Johnson, the player to be named later in a trade in 2012, in the offseason in 2012. I'm going to ask you a question about that. Then I have another trivia question before we're done. Were you an all-star? Now, you're much younger than I am, but were you an all-star voter, repeated voter as a kid growing up in the Chicagoland area?
Absolutely. We would. So I remember them being the little bubbles. You filled them in, and then you stuff them. And, so we were huge Mark Grace, Andre Dawson fans.
Sure.
And even Shawan Dunston, because we used to love how he would showcase his arm by letting the runner think he could get close and then fire it over there at 108. So we loved watching those guys, and we would vote for them nonstop as much as we could. We would just fill all Cubs over and over again as many times as we could. And
Yeah.
if people left them, sometimes we would pick them up and fill them out and then stuff them in the ballot too.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right? I mean, that's especially as kids. I mean, I didn't care. I wanted to see my favorite players. I'm still mad. And by the way, we talked about it last week. R.I.P. to Dave Parker, who stole Lee Mazzilli's 1979 All-Star Game MVP by throwing two guys out at the plate in that All-Star game. Mazzilli hit the game-tying home run and then drew a bases-loaded walk to force in the winning run. Nobody's ever driven in the tying and winning runs, separate occasions in an All-Star game, and not been the MVP. But Dave Parker probably deserved it. So I'm kind of over it, but maybe not. And by the way, Mazzilli was on that ballot. That was a 1979 ballot. Do you remember the five prominent players that were in the trade in which you were the player to be named later?
Yeah, I think so. James Shields, Wade Davis, and then me.
Right.
For Will Myers, Jake Odorizzi, and then Montgomery.
Yes.
All right.
Very good. That's very good. Now, a player to be named later just means that you had to be taken off or put onto the 40-man roster or taken off the 40-man roster before they could announce it, right?
Yeah, well, they were waiting for spring training to officially start. I think pitchers and catchers to start so that they could add.
Gotcha.
Jumbo Paulino needed to go to the 60-day DL to add a roster spot so they could add me.
All right, let me get to what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C. Elliot Johnson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Mike Rizzo, general manager, Dave Martinez, the manager, combined, they won the World Series back in, 2018, was it? 2018 winning the World Series? Was this firing justifiable, or is this management just, we're no good, we're the worst team in the East now, so this is our way of trying to tell our fans that we're actually trying?
So there's a couple of things going on here. So I'm a Rizzo fan, and obviously I played for Davey in Tampa Bay, so
right.
I know Davey really, really well. He was the bench coach there while we were there for forever, and I've got, if your fan base knew him really well, I've got a really good Davey impression. We can do it another time. But no, so I mean, I was kind of critical of Davey back when I think the World Series was 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Might have been 18, but. So I was critical of him that year, and then all of a sudden they turned it on and ended up winning the World Series. And I'll say it, I've said it here many times before, I'll say it again, we love Howie Kendrick. What a great baseball player. Beating the Astros it should be celebrated. So I respect what he was able to do. I think what he got in trouble again this year for throwing the players under the bus. To the media, like you can do that behind closed doors, but doing it to the media, not so good. And then sweeping it under the rug, not great. They don't have a lot of momentum. They've what they've been doing as of late and selling to their fan bases. We've got young guys that are on the way, and they have so many holes, and they have great players. James Wood is incredible. I'm a big fan of Dylan Cruz. Brady House has come up, hit 3 hits off of Garrett Crochet, who may win the Cy Young Award this year. I mean, they've got guys that are unbelievable. But they don't have a great team. They've got like a group of individuals that haven't seemed to kind of congeal as a team. And Mackenzie Gore is great. They've got some guys that are really good, but they can't seem to really put it together. And every time it seems like when the game starts, they're expecting to lose instead of win. So I think when you get that atmosphere, it's probably time to start fresh and clean the slate. And, the Nationals may be selling, they may not be. So they may be trying to steer the organization in a different direction, but they've been selling their fan base for a while that we're going young for a number of years, and that rebuild seems like it's one of those buildings in New York City that's permanently have scaffolding around it. And it's probably time for some change, and I like Rizzo. I think he's a great scout and a great, talent evaluator. I like Davey a lot, of course, but there's only so long you can kind of put up with these things, and probably was time for a fresh start. I don't fault them for starting over. I think the thing that they need to understand, though, if you're doing this right, you have a pretty good sense of who's going to fill that void.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a short list of guys that would do really well. Like I think they should definitely interview Sandy Alomar in Cleveland. I don't know if he'll ever leave there, but he would be a great person to put on that short list. George Lombard in Detroit, they're winning really well. So they need to bring some fresh blood where they expect to win instead of every day coming to the yard expecting to lose.
Elliot Johnson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I know Mike Rizzo made some comments that basically I've dealt with this ownership group for 20 years because ownership really is, and we see it across sports. There's a reason why certain organizations never win. And I know the Nationals did have a World Series, and they were really good for 4 or 5 years in a row. They were really good. They were right on the cusp of winning. But when your ownership group isn't great, how would you rate their ownership group?
I would say that they're actually above average in terms of ownership. Like if the Dodgers are the gold standard, and you could say the Pirates or even the Angels are the whatever perpetual bronze standard, whatever you want to come up with there on the other end of that spectrum. They're definitely in that 75th percentile type range. They do a good job.
Okay.
I mean, look at what they did. The way they rewarded Steven Strasburg, even though his arm was falling off after they won the World Series. I mean, you could point to that as being one of the downfalls of, hey, we're trying to hold on and we can win again. I think they gave him $200 million to not pitch again. You could point to those types of things as, bad business sense, but being good to players and being good to the fan base. They probably didn't know that he was never going to pitch again. Obviously, that's why they extended the contract, but that you could point to that as being somewhere they had a poor process in place. But they do right by their players. They do a good job. They try to win. When they smell an opportunity to win, they invest. Bringing in Jason Worth back in the day, that was a great signing a long time ago. They've really done a good job of developing Juan Soto, for example, and bringing him up, not being afraid to bring him up at 19. I think he did a rehab stint when he was 20, and I think he was the youngest on the field and had multiple years of service time. Bryce Harper. I mean, so they've done a great job. It's gone stale, and it's probably time for some new blood in there.
Elliot Johnson is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Are you still into Home Run Derby? Are you a guy who will tune in Monday night? Is it better than the All-Star Game? I asked you 16 questions at the same time. Are you still into Home Run Derby? Let's just narrow it down.
The Home Run Derby is the greatest event that baseball has to offer. It's not even close. I can remember, I think my first one was Ken Griffey Jr. hitting him off of the warehouse in Camden with the backwards hat. I can't think of any more classic than that, or Jason Giambi in Safeco. And just watching that super slow-mo cam and then trying to replicate that. That guy was so strong, and then getting to play with him. A guy, just remarkable people to be able to watch. Sammy Sosa, I think in Atlanta, hitting him off the facade there of the old Turner Field.
Right.
Or Mark McGwire in Boston hitting him, you thought we're going to hit that Sitco sign. And, of course, that never did. But just, some of the most amazing. And then Bobby Abreu, I think in Philly maybe one year, he ended up outlasting his bat. And then, of course, Raleigh native Josh Hamilton in Yankee Stadium, and then coming up second to Justin Morneau. That was painful, but the most talented baseball player that anybody has ever seen is Josh Hamilton, and so what he did, I think, in 2008 in Yankee Stadium was amazing.
And it is amazing because the first couple of rounds were like Superman, and then losing to Justin Morneau be one of the great Home Run Derby trivia questions ever. Who beat Josh Hamilton to win that? Because it's much like the Duke Carolina game from what 1995 or I think it was 95, where Jeff Capel hits the half court shot, only to tie the game, and Duke went on to lose in overtime or the second overtime, whatever it was. Hamilton never won that Home Run Derby. It is great. It does overshadow the game Was it last year where these guys were wearing their own uniforms in Home Run Derby and then wore stupid uniforms during the All-Star game? Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't we have Home Run Derby uniforms and then everybody should wear their own uniform during the All-Star game?
Yes. Yeah, there should be like a City Connect. Atlanta's hosting this year, so do everything Atlanta-based for the Home Run Derby, and then represent your city and your team for the game. I think is the best way to do it.
The classic Braves uniform with like the navy front with the white sleeves, which they're actually using, which is I think always smart to wear your best look. I don't know. I guess you could use the powder blue Bob Horner esque uniforms, right? For the I don't know, for the road team. All right, give me before I ask you a trivia question, biggest surprise for you as a team so far this season?
Biggest surprise team. I think the Yankees have been super surprising. It's always so disappointing to look up and see them doing well. It's been pretty cool to see Toronto doing as well as they've been doing. I think that's been somewhat of a surprise. Didn't really expect them to do as well as they're doing. They got some momentum. Hopefully they can carry it. The Cubs have been outstanding, Adam.
Mashing the ball.
Man, they look good. And then now, Chicago has gotten warm and balls are jumping out of there. It's been playing differently. So as much offense as they put up, they're probably going to do more now, which is kind of scary to think about. They need to pick up some pitching for this before the break, and we'll see what they end up doing. They've got some good players that they could potentially move. I think those have been somewhat surprising to me. Cal Raleigh in Seattle has been very surprising.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He hit his hardest ball of his career a couple of days ago from the right-hand side in Safeco, which is not an easy place to hit home runs at him. So
no.
Those are kind of the Braves stink, and that's been really surprising because they're supposed to be in, but now there's whispers of them selling. We'll see what they choose to do at the deadline here, but they've not been good. So those are kind of a couple of things that stand out right away.
All right, here's your trivia question. I told you I was going to ask you an impossibly hard trivia question. The Yankees have 4 position players who didn't. One of them's hurt. Mike Stanton's hurt. Well, Giancarlo Stanton, who are current or past MVPs. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Cody Bellinger, and Paul Goldschmidt.
Mm-hmm.
2 other teams fielded everyday players for four guys who had won MVP awards. Can you name either franchise?
Wow.
Yeah. Now they gave us on the TV, they gave the 2 teams, and all I had to do was name the MVPs. One of them I got easy, the other one I got 3 of the 4.
Okay, so no, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the Dodgers.
No.
Dang it.
Clayton Kershaw gives them 4 MVPs now, but position players, no. Yeah, exactly. I'll give it to you. Because we have to break.
Sure.
The 78 Reds bench
the big red machine.
Bench Rose, Morgan, and George Foster. And the 82 Angels.
Would have never guessed
Lynn,
that.
I got 3 of the 4. Lynn Carew. I didn't get Reggie Jackson. Forgot he was with the Angels then. And Don Baylor. So there you go.
That's a fantastic trivia question.
It is a great trivia question, and I made it more difficult by asking you to come up with the teams. Elliot Johnson, my friend, I will see you very soon.
Thanks, Adam.
Take care. Elliot Johnson here on the Adam Gold Show. One-timers next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact Protect program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Did you know Medicare fraud is costing us $68 billion a year? The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medical Patrol Program's goal is to reduce Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. If you suspect any billing or Medicare fraud issues, we're here to help. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Voted best zoo in the nation, North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens is centrally located in the heart of North Carolina. Bring your family to Asheboro for an affordable day trip or weekend excursion to connect with nature and make cherished memories. Discover towering giraffes, pouncing sandcats, and diving seabirds at the world's largest natural habitat zoo. Roam with rhinos on Zoofari or flutter by the exotic butterfly garden during your next visit. Explore more possibilities at nczoo.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Next hour, E.J Hradek from NHL Network. Get him to assess what Carolina did in free agency, and we'll just talk about the game in general. Right now, one-timers.
Okay, well, like most people know, in case you don't, you can add us on YouTube or on Twitter, and I will see them. And I have to start with this one because it's a two-parter, and it involves both of us.
All right.
So, from William, he says, for Victoria, you talk about your love of rock and metal. Love it. What are your current favorite hard rock bands? And the second question is, do you know any of them? You as does Gold know any of them?
The answer is no. I can answer that one right off the bat.
I know. So I was going to say the first off the top of my head is sometimes it rotates. So right now there's a band called Sleep Theory. They're
Definitely
really
never heard
fun. And they're up and coming. I love them a lot. Also, we've got Fame on Fire. Asking Alexandria is not new, but also I would highly recommend A Day to Remember has a new album that is fierce. So I don't know if you know any of those, but I highly recommend checking them out. A Day to Remember is actually coming to Raleigh, and I will be there. So I cannot wait. They put on a really good show.
All right, well,
Just so
I've
you know.
never heard of any of them, obviously. But here's, we have Access TV, AXS TV now.
Yeah.
On our, we flipped back to Spectrum. I don't have to get into it. And they have Access TV. Watched an AC/DC concert from Argentina, from Buenos Aires.
Yep.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not an AC/DC fan.
Sure.
But it was fun to watch that.
Angus, just getting it still.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Non-stop motion.
Did you see that Black Sabbath just did their final tour with the Back to the Beginning?
I heard that it was not.
I mean,
didn't
Ozzy,
sound great.
So his last song was Paranoid, and I mean, considering Ozzy and that he's still alive, like he sounded pretty good. God bless him. And he said, God bless you all, like 10 times at the end. It was very nostalgic for anyone who loves Ozzy or Black Sabbath. But yeah, I guess he's hanging up his bats and things.
All right.
So,
he's on a diet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this next up, thoughts on the line combination / who is likely a healthy extra for the forward group? Nadeau? ?
Well, I'm not sure that Bradley Nadeau is going to make the team. I talked about that in the latest edition of the Canes Corner podcast. I mean, there are like 4 or 5 guys for the last 3 spots. Yeah, I'm not sure that you could pencil Nadeau in and make the team. But it's very, very competitive.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. You want to know about the gold standard of mortgage companies. You want to know about the champagne of mortgage companies. That's right. It is Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987, brought it to the Triangle. Almost a decade later, and your neighbors, me, have been celebrating no closing cost mortgages ever since. I am an 11-time customer with Miller Lending, have never paid a dime in closing cost, have saved about $50,000. That's right, $50,000 the bank doesn't get. I keep it. It's my money, and I've lowered my monthly payment every time. That's right. Every time I have refinanced, I have lowered my monthly payment. The last time I did it, I lowered it by over $300 a month. MillerLending.com. That's right. Miller Lending, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Aloha! Dreaming of sandy beaches and ocean breezes? JTV's Tropical Treasure Sweepstakes could make that dream come true. Enter for your chance to win a fabulous Hawaiian getaway for 2 with luxury accommodations, airfare, and spending cash. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of at least $99 when you opt in for emails. Don't miss out. Visit jtv.com/sweeps and enter by August 3rd. JTV, where paradise awaits.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
Whether we're a CEO, manager,
coworker,
or someone with a mental health condition ourselves.
So what can I do to help?
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This is Monster Jam. Witness big air, two-wheel skills, backflips, and all-out racing. Monster Jam, as big as it gets. Brought to you by the Original Super Glue. Buy qualifying Original Super Glue products and save $10 per ticket. Offer available at participating town and country hardware stores. See stores for details. Coming to Lenovo Center July 26th and 27th.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold.
Let's go, Cubs.
All right, so Seiya Suzuki.
Yes.
Has, 25 home runs and 77 runs batted in, leads Major League Baseball in RBI. He's got more than Aaron Judge, more than Cal Raleigh, more than Pete Alonso. Yep. For the Mets. So, all right, I apologize for not knowing him. But seriously, when your focus has been, like, I'm not trying to make an excuse because baseball to me used to be the only sport that I religiously followed. When I was a kid, it was all baseball. Now, I followed the Knicks in the NBA. I followed the Islanders in the NHL. I grew up a Jets fan going to Jets games. But I was more Knicks fan, Islanders fan, Jets fan. And while I still am a Mets fan, and I watched 2 baseball games over the weekend, I watched everything in Major League Baseball as a kid growing up. Helps when you have a Major League team in your market.
It does.
And you go to big league games. I have no doubt that were Raleigh home for Major League Baseball, I would get right back into it in terms of, like, imagine, close your eyes for a second and imagine Raleigh, North Carolina with Major League Baseball and listening to me talk about Major League Baseball every day.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if we had a rooting interest here. Now, it's not that this area doesn't like Major League Baseball, but it's not on us every day.
We don't have a team, local team.
Right. We have a lot of Braves fans, and there are a lot of Orioles fans. They played over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There are Yankees fans and Mets fans and Red Sox fans. We're pretty transient. But it's not here every day. And I promise you, if we ever get a team, I will tick you off by how much baseball I'm going to talk.
Exactly.
But it's not on our everyday.
Sure.
So I've lost I know every player on every team, and I was that kid. That might have been annoying too.
Well, I'll help you with any Cubs things.
There you go. There you go. So they don't have Mark Grace anymore. Ryan Sandberg's not there anymore.
No.
Keith Moreland is not there anymore.
No.
Ron Say as a Cub. Of course, he was a Dodger first. Not there anymore. That's why I get lost into the nostalgia. Somebody just posted a Reggie Jackson, I guess it was the Sports Illustrated cover from, like 1972 or 71, was it? 56 years ago today. So what is that? 69.
Yeah.
Right? It's Reggie Jackson on the cover of Sports Illustrated in an all mustard yellow, not yellow mustard, but more of a brown mustard. Uniform with the A's. It's just glorious.
Oh yeah.
And it's a picture of Reggie Jackson, and I love the uniform, but. Man, I was all about baseball and baseball cards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As a kid.
And that's coming back, too. Baseball cards, big time.
But it's coming back, no offense, this is going to sound old man yells at cloud. It's coming back for the wrong reason.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming back because it's a financial, that's fine. I'm not anti-collector, sort of am. But it's not coming back because, man, trading baseball cards. I'll give you 2 Willie Randolphs for 1 Enos Cabell. Go look that name up.
Like Pokemon.
Right. Yes. 1 Pikachu. Did I say that right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
I have no idea. All right. We have time. E.J Hradek joins us in about 15 minutes. A bonus one-timers, but we'll do it in a mailbag.
You've got mail.
I also didn't fully answer the last question because I didn't give specifics.
Okay, yes.
So, and by the way, we're going to talk to Rod Brindamore tomorrow on the program.
Oh,
so maybe,
yes.
Yeah, maybe
Are we starting the summer?
Yeah, it'll be a little hockey. I'm going to get into some other things with him, though.
Okay.
I will. So somebody asked, the last question was about line combinations. Who are the odd men out? And I put this, I included this in the podcast that I did yesterday. But if Seth Jarvis or Logan Stankoven plays center, and I have to guess that maybe they're a consideration. I think best case scenario, you'd go out and get a center. But if Jarvis and or Stankoven are considerations to move to center, it then throws another name, a couple of names into the mix. So right now, Jackson Blake, Taylor Hall, William Carrier, Eric Robinson, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Mark Jankowski would all, in some way, shape, or form, be in jeopardy of getting dropped from the lineup. Ehlers is playing. Jarvis, Aho, Svechnikov, or Stahl, Martinuk are playing. So all of those other spots are potentially tenuous based on, injuries are going to happen, so it really works itself out. But given health, there are maybe 6 players for 5 spots.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys who are in some ways in jeopardy of losing that spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a long answer. All right, get back to it.
Okay, so next up we've got one that says, a few weeks ago you thought Hurdle would be a good option at center. Do you still think that's a possibility with Vegas being over the cap? And what would it take for the Canes to get that trade done?
It's not a possibility because they're going to be under the cap as soon as they put Alex Pietrangelo on long-term injured reserve. They're not trading. If they were going to trade one of those other centers, whether it's William Carlson or Tomas Hertl, then they wouldn't have included Nick Waugh in the trade for Mitch Marner. They needed to clear a little bit of room. Nick Waugh does that for them, but Alex Pietrangelo will be put on a long-term injured reserve.
Yeah. Okay, from WN, we've got one that says, everyone is writing off KK. Do you think there's a chance we hang on to him and play him at 4C? Wouldn't mind him in a limited role like that.
Yeah, there is a chance. And I wouldn't hate that at all. Look, it's funny. You Jesperi Kotkaniemi, there's a hive. There's a KK hive out there. And far be it from me to disturb it, it's never bothered me to do that. But man, when you suggest that it's probably on him, not anybody else, why he hasn't clicked and at least been good for Carolina. He's just been bleh. And that's really on him more than anybody else. Because he starts out the season every year with the same opportunity, and by, 2 months in, everything's in limbo. Because he has not been able to sustain really good play. I'm not saying that other guys haven't also struggled with that. Andrei Svechnikov this past year is the best example of it. We can't have another Andre year like we just had. It's got to be better. But yeah, if Kotkaniemi was Carolina's fourth center, yeah, that would be fine. That would be okay.
Yeah.
Now he'd have to battle Jankowski for that, and at times KK was a healthy extra. We don't want that to happen. But yeah, I think that Carolina would be in great shape if he was 4C.
Now, next up, we've got, it looks like most of the team is locked up for several years or more. How will any prospects break through, or will they most likely trade bait moving forward?
I think some of the prospects could be trade bait. I do. I think whether it's Nadeau or even Blake could be trade bait. But let's just wait and see how it all plays out. But if Carolina can get a legit 2C via trade, then you're probably going to have to give up one or more of those potential, prospects. So that's okay. Prospects are to be used to make you better. Whether they actually make you better or they are used to make you better doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we do have another hockey one, but this one from Micah, do you think all the Diego Luna hype is annoying? I can't stand all the fans who say he deserves to start over Pulisic. He plays in Utah for a reason.
Well, okay. He will not start over Christian Pulisic. But I think you can make an argument until last night, because I thought Diego Luna was pretty, at best, mediocre. And the worst part about it was that he played frustrated and didn't take care of some of his defensive assignments. Because I didn't watch the match yesterday. But I do think Luna has put himself in position to potentially start for the U.S. when we get to the World Cup. Though we got a whole year's worth of friendlies. But he plays off the left, and Pulisic can easily move inside and play the 10, because he does that a lot for AC Milan. And look, the U.S. team has a lot of holes. It's amazing to me that Tim Ream is still a thing. Bless his heart, he's still good. But that can't be your first choice center back when we get to the World Cup. Just can't. Chris Richards was really good, I thought, for this Gold Cup. The two outside backs that played, I don't even know that they'll make the roster for the World Cup. Maybe, Arfston? Maybe he makes the roster, but he can't defend. Not a lick. Our best player is probably the starting left back anyway, Anthony Robinson. Serginho Dest is the only creative force we've got on the right side. He's not a complete player, but I love his attack and his creativity going forward. Tyler Adams, fine. Weston McKennie didn't play. He'll be in the mix. But I think Luna could potentially start coming off the left and when we get to the World Cup. So yesterday was not a good look for Diego Luna. But, man, he's exactly what you want. Maybe even coming off the bench, I think he's a help.
Yeah. Well, we've got one more.
All right.
This one from Jared. How long into this upcoming season until we lock Jalen Chatfield down with a long-term contract?
Can't do it. Physically, you're not allowed to. He's got a 3-year deal. He signed a 3-year deal last offseason. He is not eligible for an extension until after this season, and actually it has to turn July 1. So as soon as you get into the new contract year of the last year of your deal, that's when you can sign an extension. We'll see how this year goes. But I definitely think that will be in the mix for Carolina, especially if he plays with Jacob Slavin on a top defensive pairing to start the year.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have a random one. For anyone who knows, no one has the answer to this question.
Sure.
Why is Alvin Kamara throwing out the first pitch of my Cubs
I wanted to
game?
ask you a question. Here's a one-timer for you, Victoria.
Who?
Right? Here's a one-timer for you. Because Kamara, who is obviously Saints running back.
Right, and this Panther fan does not approve.
If Drew Brees
He's okay.
was a huge... What?
Yeah, I know. I know it's unacceptable, but he doesn't play anymore. So I know I did not like Drew Brees while he played for the Saints.
First of all, let me finish the question. Secondly, are you serious? That would be okay with you if Drew Brees?
He seems like a very nice human being.
He's a New Orleans Saint.
I know.
They're all evil people.
I know this isn't Sean Payton.
What about
Evil forever.
Sean Payton?
Nope, he's done. He's dead to me. Nope, not acceptable.
Wait.
I even said it on Twitter. I was like, this Panther and Cubs fan does not approve of Kamara throwing out the first pitch in this game. And if we lose, I know why. And they lost. They lost that game, so they don't listen to me.
That is fantastic. All right. We'll break. E.J Hradek, NHL Network, will join us on the other side.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
I know we just celebrated the 4th of July, but we have another holiday to celebrate on Friday. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for Law Tigers, and National Motorcycle Day is recognized every year on the second Friday of July. This is where motorcycle enthusiasts and motorcyclists everywhere spend the day honoring those who ride and highlighting the motorcycle industry's positive impact on their local communities. There's honestly a ton of positives when it comes to riding, but one potential negative, even in a vehicle, is the danger of a wreck. And if you're ever in an accident on your motorcycle that wasn't your fault, make sure to call Law Tigers first before calling your insurance company. At Law Tigers, they're riders too. They get it. They know the value of your bike, your gear, the investment that you made, and what it's like to go through an accident. Case evaluations are always free, and you're not going to pay a dime until your case is settled. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update sponsored by Prevagen. Prevagen made for your brain. With Roger Federer watching from the Royal Box, Novak Djokovic advanced to his 16th Wimbledon quarterfinal, rallying to beat Alex de Minaur in 4 sets, 1-6, 6-4, 6-4, and 6-4. During his on-court interview, Djokovic, the 7-time champ, was asked about playing in front of Federer, who holds the men's record with 8 titles.
It's probably the first time he's watching me and I won the match. The last couple I lost, so good to break the curse.
Meanwhile, American Ben Shelton is now up 2-1 on Lorenzo Sonego. They are on serve early in the 4th. On the ladies' side, American Emma Navarro lost the first set to 7-seed Mira Andreeva 2-6. They're on serve early in the 2nd. With this tennis update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia. When I first started taking Prevagen, I noticed stuff just seemed to come together and fit like a jigsaw puzzle. When I have customers come in, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription, and I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. I wouldn't recommend something like Prevagen if I didn't think it was worth it, because it works so good for me. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really works so good. Makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here on the ones and twos. It is fully into the NHL's off season. So many have already entered cottages and will not emerge again until September. I don't even know if E.J Hradek of NHL Network has a cottage. Let's find out. Do you have a cottage, sir?
Yeah. I have like a tool shed in my backyard, which is about 8 by 7. I don't know. Maybe I could go there, but I don't think the spiders and the various insects that live in there would be that happy to see me.
They would be very happy to see you, E.J Hradek. But I would not go there. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I would say the answer to that question is an emphatic no. I don't have cottage.
All right, let's start a little bit with the Hurricanes, then we'll move on. We'll move around maybe the division and just maybe the conference or things that have jumped out to you. I know you had asked me over the weekend why about the Carolina trade of Keandre Miller, and as it's coming out, news is coming out that Carolina was apparently throwing around the threat, whether it's direct threat or the perceived threat, of offer sheets, one to Evan Bouchard, which Edmonton warded off by signing him to a contract. And apparently they directly reached out to the Rangers about Keandre Miller, and they ultimately worked out a deal. And maybe the deal looks like it is because they were going to offer sheet him, but I know you had suggested that maybe they gave up too much for somebody the Rangers were going to move. So let's just start there. What do you think of that trade?
Well, I am a fan of Keandre Miller. I think that certainly last year, nobody on the Rangers played well last year.
Exactly.
And I don't think he was really well served by, the coaching staff. Phil Housley, was the guy running in the defense. I just don't think Phil has been great in his career with the young defenseman. So I think there's a lot of upside with Keandre Miller. He's big, he's long, he skates well, he's athletic, he's very young still in his career. I like the upside, and I think he's a good player. And I think for Carolina to get him is, if they have, if they work with him and get him back to where I think he is, and maybe get him back on that right trajectory, I think it's a great acquisition for them. I just was a little surprised, and thus I sent you that note.
Yeah.
A first, a second, and a player. Now, our back and forth, you gave me your thoughts on Scott Morrow, and, maybe I thought he was a little bit, further up the food chain than he is. But the Rangers definitely, from being up here and listening to all the coverage of the Rangers and being around the people that I've been around, the feeling is that the Rangers were going to move Keandre Miller. And, because they had other worries, and they were going to get Gavrikov, and they had to spend money on him. They were worried about Will Cooley and somebody maybe offer sheeting him.
Yeah.
So I just felt like when I look at it, I'm like a player, a first, and I guess it's top 10 protected. So that's critical for next year, because if something does go wrong and you end up with in a lottery and you win the lottery, you don't want to be handing
right
a generational player and Gavin McKenna over to another franchise, particularly your own division. So that would have been worrisome. But I just felt like, why did that have to be a second? Why couldn't it have been a fourth? Why couldn't it have been a sixth?
Right.
Something of that nature. Because the Rangers, I thought, were up against it in terms of what they wanted to do. And, in fact, the kind of, again, the coverage from others here in this area is that Chris Drury did this, terrific job, getting a lot for someone that they were going to move. So, in the end, they're draft picks, and teams have to make those draft picks work. But, that was my feeling, and that's why I reached out to you. It was like, boy, I thought they could have maybe, held the line and given a later pick than a second as one of the pieces.
E.J Hradek, NHL Network, at E.J Hradek_NHL on Twitter, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. I certainly agree. When you think about if the Rangers were ultimately going to move Miller, they did get a fair amount for him. I don't think anybody here with the Hurricanes believes that first round pick is going to be earlier than, say, 28 or so. Right? So, in some ways that has less value. Plus, if you're looking at it from a Hurricanes perspective, that first round pick is really 3 second round picks based on what they do with first round picks. But
that's true. They have been very true to form with what they do with picks. It's like this year at the draft, when they came up and they traded back, I just started laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, it's unbelievable. It's like, it's what they do. But, hey, it works for them.
I waited 4 hours. I had to pay attention to 4 hours of the draft, and I knew what they were going to do because unless somebody who they have a grade on in the top 10 falls to and they pick 29th, they're not keeping that pick because they just don't see the value being any different than where they picked first, which was 41st in the draft. They did a very good job of collecting I think pretty good value for them. But we'll get to that maybe in a different conversation. But to me, when I look at what Carolina needed, is that I thought they needed to get better on the right side defensively. And Miller is a left. So it puts them in a position where and I don't think it'll happen in year one, but I think and maybe it'll happen toward the end of year one, but certainly going forward. The thought process has to be that Alexander Nikishin will be a top 4 defenseman for them, which gives you 3 of your top 4 all being left-sided, and one of them is going to have to play the right side. The people I talk to say it's most likely Slavin. And, man, I wouldn't move him at all. I would hope that one of the others could play the right side. How would you see it?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fool with Slavin either. I mean, just because he's such a good player, and he's he can do it because he's such a good player. But why would you want to put him in a position where he's less than he is in another spot? So, but these are the things, and it's not set in stone that all these guys will continue to be there. I mean, things change, right? Yep. I mean, so maybe they use one of them as an asset to move in a different direction. You don't know, but. I don't think Miller is necessarily suited to be a right side guy. That's just kind of my thinking with him. And obviously the young kid, we don't really know, for sure how that's going to play out, but he's a young player. And, sometimes, these guys can fool you and they like playing on the offside.
Yep.
But I don't love it. I like to have, strong side guys on each side. That's just, maybe I'm just an old school guy when it comes to that stuff, but I like that better. I think guys are better on their strong sides. So, but that's something that management and and Roddy Brindamore and the coaching staff will have to figure out moving forward. But the bottom line is they got, I think, a guy in Keandre Miller that, like I said, he's had some good experience in the NHL. Like he's had a couple of good years, and then the last 2 have been. Particularly last year, but again, everybody was bad. The Rangers. I just think that he's, you're always looking to take, great players, good players. They're not available and everything's gone well. I think we've had this conversation before. So it wasn't a great year. The Rangers are moving on from Keandre Miller. Carolina sees the upside. He's still a young player. You go take a shot. You get him. And I guess in the end, it's, you gave up the first, you gave up the second, you gave up Morrow. I mean, if Keandre Miller becomes a player that I think he can be and they think he can be, then it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you end up with the best player in the trade, even though he was the only player. Oh, no, Scott Morrow was in the trade too. I think Morrow is at least a year away from being a regular in the NHL, and it might take him even a little bit longer than that.
It's funny, though. It's funny, Adam, because Morrow was someone that, again, followed him from afar. You see it from closer. Is that he seemed like he was a guy that was going to be part of their kind of future, and therefore I was kind of surprised. I was like, that they were willing to move him and those picks, but in the end, I guess the feelings about players change, or the feelings about players are kept within the organization, which is the best thing to do, because then when you move them, if you didn't think they were that good to begin with, you don't want to devalue the asset. I think that's a little bit of what happened to Miller.
Yeah.
So again, I think his value, had come a little bit down just because of the way that he's been, he had a tough year, but just the way he was talked about, through the media by management. So anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Let's move on to Nick Ehlers. Carolina gets once Mitch Marner was off the board, and we kind of knew that was off the board well before we got to July 1. Nick Ehlers was the number one free agent offensive performer. Carolina gets him. I was surprised that it was 6 years and not 7. Don't really understand why it was 6 and not 7. Who knows? Maybe 7 is unlucky for somebody. I mean, $8.5 million is, I think, a good number for Nick. I think if he performs well offensively, $8.5 million is going to look like a good value down the road, knowing where the cap is going. How did you look at that signing?
Well, it seemed like, again, it was like Gavrikov coming to the Rangers.
Right.
Like, everybody kind of knew it was happening. For whatever reason, it was in the cards. And it seemed like the same way with Nick Ehlers, even though he waited a couple of days. It seemed like the thinking was that he's going to Carolina. And that's how it ended up, albeit a couple of days. And the contract didn't quite look, maybe because you say, like, you're right. I would think, why not get that 7th year, especially, for a player that by that point in time, probably would love to have that 7th year. But maybe the team held firm on that. And I don't, Nick isn't, he's been a good player, but he's not Mitch Marner. He's not going to hold you up for a 7th year. I think there was probably a lot, other teams that were talking to him probably didn't want to give him a 7th year. It's a lot. So, especially with, in the new CBA down the road, when that gets papered, this idea of, that's going to go down anyway. Right? Like you're going to be able to get, it's not going to be 8 and 7 for guys. It's going to be 7 and 6. So whatever the reason, he's at 6 years. He's the guy I think that fits, just like Keandre Miller. I think he fits what you want to do in Carolina. He's a really good skater. Every once in a while he gets banged up, so that's been more so over the last, I think, 2 years. So he's missed some games in there, but he's a good offensive player. He's a good skater. I think he fits what they want to do. And the best part of it is, Adam, he wants to be there.
Yeah.
He wanted to be there. He's, he had the choice. He could have went anywhere. He had a lot of options, I'm sure, and he opted to go there. So I think that's always a great thing for any franchise, and particularly a franchise where there have been situations where the player doesn't want to be there. So, I think it's been a really good, free agency period to get players that fit and seem happy to be there, and we'll see how it works in the end.
E.J Hradek is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, since we've kind of talked about the Rangers because of Keandre Miller, are the Rangers, do you think the Rangers have put themselves back into a spot where we can expect them to make the playoffs? There's only 8 spots in the East, and only 3 came from the Metro last time. The Islanders, I'm not sure the Islanders got that much better. But the Islanders certainly adding Matthew Schaefer, who I assume is going to be in the lineup. But the Islanders, I thought, really underachieved. Maybe a changing of the guard. Devils should be good. How do you look at, look at the Metro right now?
Okay. Well, like I said, the Capitals had the big year, right? So the question will be, will the Capitals regress? the Capitals had the big year. They won the division out. They lost to the Hurricanes in the second round. But, like, it seemed like it was one of those years for the Capitals that everything went well, particularly in the first, two-thirds of the season.
Yep.
And they weren't quite the same team in the final third of the season. So where are the Capitals going to be this year? Because as much as I liked a lot of things about them last year, they have the look of a team that, maybe things don't go as well this year and it's more of a struggle.
Right.
Right? So that I don't think it's a guarantee. The Devils were good until everybody got hurt, or at least the Devils were good right until, I think, Christmas. They were really good. And then they went into they had some problems, and then they got injuries. And you know what? They battled in the playoffs against a Carolina team, which I don't think they match up particularly well against. And, they ended up losing in a short series, but I give them credit because they were missing so many players. And in fact, Brian Dumoulin played so well that he was able to get a brand new 3-year contract with the LA Kings.
Yeah.
So good for him. But so the Devils, on paper, they should be in the mix, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Jack Hughes is healthy and Luke Hughes advances in his career, and they have a good goaltender, so they should be they should be in the mix. As for the Rangers, it's hard for me to tell you because the reverse of the Capitals, the Rangers had everything go wrong last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, now they brought in Mike Sullivan, who is a really good coach, and I think overdue for a change of scenery, and I think it'll be good for him. They have a great goalie in Shesterkin. They've made some changes on defense. They brought in Gavrikov to play alongside Fox. They got to hope Fox is healthier and can regain, the play that, had him in the mix or had him winning a Norris Trophy, although I didn't really think he should have won the Norris Trophy that year, but that's another discussion. But he was nonetheless, he was a really good defenseman. So they need him to be better. They made some other changes to their defense. They have a full year of J.T. Miller. They're hoping some young players can move forward. But I still look at their team, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, they've got Zibanejad, who has kind of been going backwards in his career the last couple of years. Trocheck kind of would be great as a third center, but he has to play higher. Panarin's going into the last year of his contract. He's been a terrific free agent for them. Every year he's, their leading scorer. I just think that with Sullivan being there, Shesterkin is terrific in goal. They've made some changes. They'll come to camp focused. They're a team that played poorly last year that I expect to play better this year, but I still don't think they're a real threat, unless they can make some other changes up front because they're either too young or too old in some areas up front. So we'll see where it goes, but I do think the Rangers, because of the coaching change, because of the goaltender, and because some of the other tweaks, will probably be a more difficult team to play against this year.
Is it fair to say that everybody in the Metro should be happy that they're not in the Atlantic?
Yes, I think that's very fair to say. And, you mentioned Matthew Schaefer with the Islanders, and you're probably right. He will probably get a look to play with the Islanders. But, I just think, first of all, that kid is electric. He's got an electric personality. He is magnetic. And he is going to be a great thing for this league and for that franchise. I would desperately beg him to go play a year of college hockey because he played 17 games last year. And while he's got pretty good size, he's lanky, he's getting stronger, he's getting bigger. He played 17 games last year. To come in and play at the National Hockey League level on defense, where it is difficult, it's hard to come in and be a difference maker as a defenseman without, at that age. I would literally beg him because I am so fascinated by him as a person and a player, especially now with that window. Going back to Erie doesn't make much sense. He'll dominate in the Ontario League.
Right.
But there's a window now for these guys to go play a year at Michigan State or wherever you want. Division, they're happy to take you. They might even pay you to be there, right?
Yes.
Like it's just, I've been like, I'll use Michigan State as an example because I visited there last year. I saw their training facilities there and what those kind of universities have to offer. They're better than what the NHL teams have to offer.
Yeah.
So, to me, a year in that environment where you're working, you have more time to work on physical development and your mental life development as well. And you're playing the 40 games, and you're playing against guys that are a little bit older, but not like 30-year-old grizzled veterans in the American League and not 17-year-olds in the OHL. I think it's a great option, as for players. We can discuss the merits of, how that whole thing is changing,
right?
With the NCAA and junior hockey. But for those players who are the top-end guys, to have a year to play where, they're not they're not dominating younger kids in the OHL or Western League or Quebec League, and not in a situation, in most cases, you can't play in the American League, but in some cases, the Europeans, they end up in the American League, and that's a very tough league. So I would tell Matthew Schaefer again, I would just say, listen, find one of those spots. That's your path.
Yeah.
And then see where you're at the end of the year, because Cale Makar did 2 years of college.
It's amazing.
And it hasn't hurt him.
I think you're right.
I believe Quinn Hughes did his second year.
Yeah.
I like that path, especially for defensemen, because it is such a tough position to play. And then, like I said, Matthew is just, I don't know how anyone's career is going to work out, because we've seen guys that we think are going to be fantastic, and it doesn't happen for whatever reason.
Adam Fox played 3 years at Harvard. All right,
There
E.J.
you
Hradek.
go. So,
Back to the tool shed.
There you have. There's my plea.
Into the tool shed for you, E.J. Hradek. I appreciate your time.
Yes.
As long as you have coverage in the tool shed, I will hit you up soon. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm hosting NHL Tonight 3 times this week, so I'm working. So
look
if you
at
need
you.
me, I'm here.
There's no off season. All right, EJ, take care. I'll talk to you very soon.
Take care.
You
See
got
you,
it,
buddy.
E.J. Hradek will be on the TV tonight. All right, when we come back, we'll stretch. We'll place bets. My winning streak's over. Very upset about that. Next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC Scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
If you are on Medicare, scammers may target you to steal your identity. Remember, Medicare will never call you asking for personal details. The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medicare Patrol Program is here to protect you from fraud and provide you with knowledge to stay safe. Contact SMP today at ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Experience a day of discovery at the world's largest natural habitat zoo located in Asheboro. North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens offers miles of shaded pathways, engaging activities and nature trails, and award-winning educational programming for all ages. Encounter wild animals, flourishing plants, and extraordinary beauty as you explore the ancient Uwharrie Mountains in the heart of North Carolina. Every visit helps save wildlife and wild places. Plan an unforgettable journey at nczoo.org.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
Is he married to a person or just himself? Because that, I feel like that's very Aaron Rodgery of him to have the twist in there.
It's a very good question.
So, I don't know. We still don't know if it's a person.
Would he get down on one knee to ask himself over an ayahuasca?
Yes.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. All right, we're going to place bets in just a little bit. I had been on quite the winning streak.
Nice.
Yeah, but I mean, yesterday I had the match between USA and Mexico extending into extra time.
Mm-hmm.
If Mexico had won it with a header in extra time, it would have been glorious.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. So, and I lost two minor golf wagers, but still, it's been a good run.
Yeah.
So feel free. It's been good.
Yeah.
Feel free to glom onto my selections when we do it, but right now it's time to stretch.
Well, this kind of includes my picks from last week, which were super close, but no cigar, which means they're a loser. Joey Chestnut, I took the over, which was set at 70.5.
Right.
So
and he hit it, 70.5.
Yeah, so it's a push. So, and we talked about this to start the show off, so if anyone had questions and was curious, so the guy who won last year, because first of all, Joey Chestnut, for anyone who doesn't know who this man is the guy who wins all the Nathan's hot dog eating contests every single July 4th. So he is back. He wasn't in it last year because of some contract problems. He's back. He won. He won with 70.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes. And the guy who won last year, his name is Patrick Bertoletti, and he only had 46.5 hot dogs. I remember you asked me that question, and I was not sure who had second. It was him, and not anywhere close. So, so Joey Chestnut won without a doubt, and he was disappointed that he didn't hit his personal record of 76. So there's always next year, Joey.
Yes.
And I'm sure Adam Gold will not be watching that, so that's okay. But, yeah, so if anyone was wondering, if you missed that wonderful. The one-liners on that are just fantastic. I mean, they had some guy who claimed to be the champion of spray cheese in a can. And he walked around with like cans on a chain as he walked up the steps.
Like a competitor?
Yeah. It felt like Ebenezer Scrooge with the
Those first
with
of
the
all, wait.
bullet chain.
Spray cheese in a can still exists?
It does. I don't know where the cans come. Like
No, like when I was a kid in camp.
Yes.
They were hugely popular.
Oh yeah. Put him on a sociable. Oh yeah. So I guess he is the champion of whatever that mystery cheese is. So yeah,
I don't know what that is, but it ain't
good
cheese.
times. Well, this isn't so much good times. I know that there are people out there. We work with someone on the music side who is a big Hallmark fan, especially like Christmas movies. They like to watch this. This just feels like torture, so I'm not encouraging anyone to do this. Sorry, Hallmark, but they did start their annual Christmas in July on Saturday. So
really?
Don't tell your significant others if they like that, because woof. But yeah, that started this Saturday, which was Christmas at Sea is their reality series.
Yep.
But tonight, there is a 4-part docu-series about...
On Hallmark?
Even better. Yes, it's on Hallmark, but it's about Hallmark superfans. So, yeah. Who went on a Christmas cruise last November. So, that's a good time. And then they're also going to be having other shows called Unwrapping Christmas. And then just because someone loves to have fun with words, they are also making an 8-episode limited series called Holidazed. So, yeah, I am... That will put me in a daze, that's for sure.
Holidazed and confused.
Exactly. So, oh man, what a not great time.
Yeah.
Also, this was not a great time. So I like to look back in the day of what happened like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And 10 things happened 10 years ago. Now, I only picked out a few that I felt would be interesting. I'd forgotten about these. Hopefully everyone still has 10 fingers, 10 toes if you went into 4th of July with all 10 of each. But 2 NFL players had actually lost fingers in the past from fireworks. Defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah, he lost 3 fingers.
Yes. Amputated 4 days after a firework, kind of messed up his hand. Also, Bucs cornerback C.J. Wilson was another one who lost 2 fingers from that mishap. C.J. retired. Jason went to the Pro Bowl.
Wow.
We know that the Pro Bowl
took him a while to get back, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he did that back in 2020. Also, if you're a Powerball person, because I know our next one is about bets, and so some people like to gamble with Powerball, your odds got worse 10 years ago because that's when they added 10 more balls and dropped the number of Powerballs from 35 to 26. Didn't even, didn't register, but...
But was it too easy?
I know.
To win the lottery at that point?
They did say, though, that it made your chances go from 1 in 292 million, but it led to the first $1 billion Powerball. So that's the trade-off.
That's the only time I ever play. I won't play it unless it's $1 billion.
That's exactly, with a B.
Yep.
And then last but not least, the Women's World Cup final was the most watched soccer match in U.S. history, with 26.7 million people who tuned in to watch U.S. beat Japan 5-2. You were probably watching that. Maybe? 10 years. Well, 10 years ago, that was before you really got into it, right?
No, but I've always watched
the big ones.
Yeah, the World Cups, national team. I've always been into
They're
that.
fun, even though I have no idea what's going on.
Recently gotten into club soccer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that
and
was
I can
10
watch
years
just
ago.
about anything now.
Yeah, I know. You know what I like to watch? Us make really good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you.
All right. Start us off.
Okay, well, let's see here. My Cubbies are not playing today, so let's hope for the White Sox to lose, shall we? The Blue Jays are going to be in Chicago.
How hard is that for the White Sox to lose?
Not very, so let's roll with it. We'll take the Blue Jays and the over 8.5. That's plus 170.
All right. We're going to start with a tennis match that has actually just now gotten underway. Jannik Sinner and Grigor Dimitrov, or Dimitrov. Don't know how you pronounce where the accent is. And this is what I have just put in. So this is my own money. Sinner and Dimitrov over 30.5 games total. Straight sets, though. Sinner wins in straight sets, but over 30.5 games. That's plus 520.
Okay. Let's see here. The Philadelphia Phillies are in San Francisco taking on the Giants. Give me former Cubby Kyle Schwarber to be an anytime home run hitter. He's plus 420. I miss Schwarby. He was good.
Yes. The Milwaukee Brewers are hosting the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight at, I guess it's still called Miller Park. I don't know what it's called anymore in Milwaukee. We're going to parlay the Brewers home win and a Pirates win in Kansas City, plus 385.
Okay, and let's see, last but not least, Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be in Kansas City taking on the Royals. Give me the at-home Kansas City Royals, and I will take, they have it set at 9. Let me take the over 9. It's plus 200.
All right. Javier Baez.
Oh, also former Cubby.
Yes. And an all-star, by the way, for the Detroit Tigers. Is he not playing tonight? I'm looking for to hit a home run. I don't have a Javier Baez option.
Oh.
That's terrible. Give me Spencer Torkelson instead. Plus 420 to go deep for the Tigers as they host the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Think about where Baez has been. Baez was almost out of the game, and now he's an all-star again. A tremendous talent. This much I know. I know him. I didn't know the guy from the Cubs earlier, but I know Baez.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
When you look at the Carolina Hurricanes right now, at the end of last season to where they are right now, this team has gotten better. Nikolaj Ehlers, 6-year contract, $8.5 million a year. They didn't break the bank, but they got a top-line forward that they needed. Keandre Miller, they got younger, they got faster, they got stronger on the blue line. They got a better team now, but they still have moves they can make.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of infinite possibilities. It's the moment before everything changes. An invitation to something unforgettable.
I won.
Win up to $4 million with Carolina Black Premier from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. When we're spending more time outside, especially at home, we're starting to notice all of what the past months, all the wet months did to us. What can people do?
They can give us a call, and we can come out and do an assessment of the house. We can walk around the house with you and take a look at your window trims, your door trims, your gutters, your fascia behind your gutters. I mean, rot's everywhere on wooden houses, right? You just see it all the time, and a lot of people get overwhelmed. So what we do, we have all of our professional salesmen will come out to your house and help you walk around. There's no pressure. We're there to really help people. A lot of times people just want to see what do they need to do on their house. So that's what we're here to do. We can help you come together with a package for like windows, doors, siding, roofing, whatever you need. We're here to help you. That's the bottom line.
Also, great financing packages, correct?
Tons of zero-interest financing. We can make payments that are affordable for any home improvement.
I love zero-interest financing. It's my favorite type of financing. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole! That's richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
1-0. Alonso drills one deep right field. Judge turns, watches, gone! A two-run home run for Pete Alonso. It is 7-2 Mets, and with that dinger, Alonso passes Mike Piazza for third on the Mets' all-time RBI list. Pitch to Alonso. Swing and a drive, deep left field. Kiss it goodbye. Pete Alonso, a three-run home run, his second of the game. 5 ribbies for Alonso, and the Mets have broken this game open. It's 11-5.
Thank you, Rusty. Hi, it's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. Mets and Yankees were hitting home runs all weekend long. Actually, it wasn't as bad yesterday. I think the final score yesterday was 6-4. But there were a lot of runs. It was 6-5, but it was almost all home runs on Friday afternoon. It was like a late afternoon July 4th game. Saturday was a day game. And there were, actually, I think the Yankees might have hit more home runs than the Mets. I don't know. There was a lot of home runs hit. Alonso had 2. Brendan Nimmo had a grand slam. Carlos Rodon did not pitch well. Former Wolfpacker did not pitch well for the Yankees. I think the final score Saturday was 12-6.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There was some kind of fisticuffs with Volpe and Aaron Judge, wasn't there?
I did not explore that. There were ejections and there are some people being mad.
Yeah.
Well,
it makes sense.
It's hot.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's incredibly hot.
I'm telling you, people get angrier once it gets to a certain level of heat.
Yeah.
There's factual.
I get very irritable.
Oh, yeah.
When it's hot? Oh, yeah. No, please.
Yes.
Everything's got to go perfect when it's that hot outside. Otherwise, I'm mad.
Yeah, people don't need to get close to other people. You don't even want your clothes close to you at that point. I don't want anything touching me.
It's a very good
hot.
point.
Stand up. Ask the old guy, our friend
Darren
Gant. He said it's stand in the freezer season. At like
Yeah.
Sheetz. It totally is.
Oh, yeah, go in there.
And just stand there in the beer freezer.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect idea. All right. Let's do the wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, over the weekend, sort of. Well, it was on Thursday when Nick Ehlers agreed to sign with the Carolina Hurricanes. Saturday is when Ehlers met the media, and one of the first things he was asked was why Carolina was the right team to sign with.
A lot of things. I'm very excited about the project. I'm very excited about the team in Carolina. They've been a tough team to play against in the past, and I like all the young players that are there, and the interest that Carolina has shown was something that obviously helped a lot with the decision making. So it made me very excited.
The project? That's by the way, no, seriously, that's a very soccer term.
Nice.
That's what it's called. That's a very soccer term.
I can see the joy in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. blew me away. Yeah, I'm excited that you're excited about the project, Nikolaj. That's awesome. All right, he gets to play with another Dane, Frederick Anderson. They'll both be on the Olympic team. Ehlers talked about playing in front of Freddie.
Love that guy. So we are very familiar. I'm excited to play with him. He's been a great goalie throughout his NHL career. So we've obviously talked. He called me as quick as soon as he heard the news. And we got the Olympics coming up in February as well. So it'll be a very special year, I think. To have him as well there to help me, get integrated as quickly as possible and show me around the city and so on will obviously help a lot. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun to play with another Danish guy.
Absolutely. All right, I'm glad. Nikolaj's got me fired up.
I know.
I appreciate that. All right. Also, he did talk about this element of all of it, which I think matters because, and this also brings me a little bit to soccer, in that these teams are really parts of their communities, these clubs. And while American sports is vastly different, there is a connection, I believe. Maybe it's because we're all college fans here first, but there is a connection between the fans and the team.
You play hockey for the city. I love playing hockey, but you want the fans to be excited about your team. You want the fans to, stand outside the rink like they did in Winnipeg and watch the playoff games and go nuts. That's what gives you the extra energy. And I believe that they've built something similar to that in Carolina. So I'm excited to feel that.
We don't yet have outdoor viewing, but maybe as they renovate the outside of the arena, maybe that's something that we can incorporate. That would be awesome to see. I think we're all pretty blown away, like when Edmonton's on, whether home or on the road, doesn't matter. Yeah. People outside, they do it in Toronto as well.
Yep.
That would be absolutely awesome to see. Marty Biron, former NHL goaltender for about 2 decades, and now an analyst. You hear him on TSN, Sirius XM. He's been a guest on this program before. Even before Ehlers signed, liked the fit.
I like the fit for the Carolina Hurricanes. And look, the Carolina Hurricanes play a style of hockey with Rod Brindamore that's heavy on the forecheck, and they want puck possession in the offensive zone. A lot of shots, a lot of shot attempts, right? They always do that. And Nick Ehlers, not that he's great on the forecheck, but he's great in zone, creating the cycle, attacking the slot. I think it fit perfectly in Carolina. And look, Carolina, they took a chance 2 years ago with Jake Gensel at the deadline. they lost him, right? And that's a trade, but he walked to free agency. They took a chance with Mikko Rantanen this year, and then they had to trade him. Wasn't going to sign. But I think if you sign Nick Ehlers, that's long-term, and you know that he will stay with you. He's not going to be able to walk away. So that's what the Carolina Hurricanes have to do now, is take that chance. I like the fit. Look, Washington, I think, would be a great story. But if you're Nick Ehlers and you want to win, I think you're looking at Carolina. I think Washington's going to take a step back. And, you know, the fanfare, the whole Ovi thing is not as important this year. It was great last year. So I think Carolina's a perfect fit. You know, having Ehlers, and not only Ehlers on Carolina with Ehlers, I think it works great. So, I mean, I would like him to remain with the Jets, but I don't see that really happening. I think Carolina is probably the team that Ehlers is trying to figure it out. Probably still work to do, but I like his fit with the Hurricanes.
I appreciate you liking his fit, Martin Baron. I agree. I think the Ehlers signing is very Carolina Hurricanes-ish. I still think Carolina needs more. We'll talk about that in a little bit. By the way, Eric McLean from the ACC Network is going to join us in about 5 or so minutes. We'll talk a little college football with him. Before we end this, I have not heard this clip. This is Mike Tannenbaum on which quarterback has the most pressure this season. Hold on. I'm going to ask you. I don't know if you've heard this clip either yet, Victoria. So let me ask you. Who do you think has the most pressure at quarterback this season?
I mean, the obvious one might be Aaron Rodgers, but this is his, like, swan song. So
right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Lamar always has pressure.
Yeah. How
Jaden
about
Daniels might be.
Okay. How about Joe Burrow? That's my guess.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Burrow with the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's Mike Tannenbaum.
I think the quarterback under the most pressure by far, in my opinion, is Caleb Williams. I can't remember the last time an organization did more for a quarterback than go get Ben Johnson, Colston Loveland, Luther Burton, Ozzie Trapillo, Drew Dahlman. I mean, the list is on and on and on. Juxtapose that the player they passed on in Jaden Daniels, guys, is an absolute superstar. So, you know, I understand it's getting late in Miami, but boy, I think there's a ton of pressure on Caleb Williams.
That's a good answer.
I know.
That is a good answer. Joe Burrow has come through with a lot of yards, a lot of points, all that. Cincinnati Bengals have not had enough wins. So isn't winning winning is not a quarterback stat, just so people understand. I am mocking it. But it is funny how we just completely change how we alter the conversation based on who the quarterback is. If we didn't love Joe Burrow, then, well, you know, he just doesn't win enough.
Mm-hmm.
But Burrow's got to win game. That team's got to make the playoffs.
It'll be interesting to see how Ben Johnson turns the Bears around. Because Ehlers should have been gone long time ago. Or Matt Eberflus. Eberflus.
Nick Ehlers is already here.
I know. For whatever reason, I thought his name was Ehlers too. But no, it's Eberflus. Whatever. He's old news.
That's a name.
So bad.
You know, you've heard me say this before. There are certain names of coaches.
Yeah.
The name, you just know that coach is going to be fired.
Send him back.
If your name is Eberflus, you are not long for the job.
Or Matt
Sorry.
Rule.
Sorry, it's just not going to happen. All right, when we come back, Eric McLean of the ACC Network, going into the start of the season, which is sort of around the corner. It's a pretty long corner, but who shapes up right now to even challenge Clemson? Next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road and Cary, home of the original no closing cost mortgage that will save you thousands and then potentially hundreds. I will explain. You've heard the phrase, timing is everything. Well, it really shouldn't be when it comes to your mortgage. You're going to buy a house when you need to buy a house, especially first-time home buyers. You got to get in the market. This is your source of eternal wealth. That's right. This is the American dream. So you get your mortgage. Go to Miller Lending, MillerLending.com. Everything you need is right there. They make it easy. The people are great, and you'll save thousands by not paying closing costs. And when you don't pay closing costs, you always have the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates drop. And they will. If you pay closing costs, you are saying the rates are going to be no lower than they are today for another 8 years. That's the break-even point. Miller Lending. On Kildare Farm Road in Cary, Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Westwood One Sports presents this special tennis update. American Ben Shelton has advanced to his first Wimbledon quarterfinal. The 10-seed beat Lorenzo Sonego in 4 sets, 7-5 in the fourth. He's now 3-0 against the Italian in Grand Slams this year, and Shelton ended this one with a service break.
I'm happy with the way that I played that last game. I felt like that was, my best tennis, my best returning, and it's what I'm going to need to continue in this tournament. So for me to end the match with that sort of game gives me a lot of confidence moving forward.
Shelton awaits the winner of world number 1 Jannik Sinner and Grigor Dimitrov. They are just underway. Novakovic overcame a slow start, losing the first set in a half hour to beat Alex de Minaur in 4 sets. Roger Federer watched that one at center court. He also watched 18-year-old Russian Mira Andreeva knock out American Emma Navarro in straight sets. With this tennis update, Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
This is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Although I believe this came right from Eric McLean's, I was going to say iPad or iPod, but I don't think anybody has iPods anymore. We have phones. We have music in our phones. Eric McLean from the ACC Network, former Clemson star. How are you, sir?
Brother, first of all, Victoria killing on the ones and twos.
Yes.
My wife and I sitting here eating lunch, just bopping our heads
there you go.
To the intro, which I love. And then secondly, you really just dated yourself talking about an iPad
I know.
or an iPod. I don't even know what an iPod is, man. What are we talking about?
See, I am old. Like all kidding aside, the first gift my now wife got me, we were seriously dating at the time. The first Christmas gift she got me was an iPod.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it like the Nano or the
No.
Which one was it?
It was but like that old white brick one. As a matter of fact,
the one.
Yes.
Okay, I love
it was
that.
the first one. We also got a Bose sound dock for it. I think it's still going.
How many songs can that thing hold? About 53?
Oh gosh, no, it was about 500, maybe more.
Oh wow, that's pretty good.
Oh
That's
yeah.
pretty good. And now just think we have all that on our phone and we can hold millions and millions. It's unbelievable.
The cloud holds it all for us. That's the way it works. All right, that's fun. Eric McLean joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. McLean and Gramlich and McLean podcast. I guess that's the way it's officially labeled. All right, how far are we now from the start of the season? We have to be, 8 weeks?
I think we're right under that.
Yeah, a little under.
Things are. It's one of my favorite times, right? Because we get crazy sound bites out of Tallahassee. We get coaches doing awesome things. I mean, it's talking season, and as it should be, it always delivers. And it's one of my favorite times just because we don't know anything, and we get to say these big proclamations and say who we think's going to be good, and then 4 or 5 weeks in the season, we either look really smart or we just forget everything we said and say we never said it. So that it's one of two things.
And 2 weeks from tomorrow is really talking season when everybody converges on Charlotte for ACC Football Media Days. So let me ask Eric McLean this. Just based on various publications that I have looked at, Clemson is loaded. It's hard to believe that Cade Klubnik is still the quarterback for a college football team. It seems like we have been watching him forever, but I know he had a good year last year, and so much is expected this year. Clemson's got good wide receivers, should have a good offensive line. Defense is loaded as usual. Who is the next best team?
Oh, man, you're not going to let me talk about my Tigers.
We're going to get to them.
Yeah. I know you will. I think with kind of an all due respect type of deal, you have to give that to SMU. They have their quarterback back, and I think Kevin Jennings is going to be really good. The only problem or slight pause I do have with that is they lost so much around them, at the skill position, certainly on defense, and not just good players, but outstanding leaders, kind of headlined by Jonathan McGill in the leadership category there at the safety position. But, having him back is going to be no slight there. I think that he's going to be tremendous at the quarterback position. Can we see extreme growth similarly that we did with Cade Klubnik going from year one to year two? It's his team. It's been his team. Everybody in the offseason looked to him. I actually, have recently started a strength and conditioning podcast as well. Well, right now we are talking to a bunch of the strength coaches in the ACC, and unprompted, their strength coach brought KJ up 3 or 4 times just about leadership qualities, things that he has done and the growth that he has seen from him. So I love that. And, think that if you've got a guy at that position, you're in a really good spot. I think it's also really easy and typical for us to give Miami a lot of credit right now. Mm-hmm. The way they've built that team inside out. I mean, Coach Mario Cristobal has done an unbelievable job getting 4- and 5-star monsters on the offense and defensive lines of scrimmage that now it's time for those guys to be really, really good. And a bunch of them have been good throughout their years, but it's time to be generationally good, and specifically looking at Reuben Bain, specifically looking at Francis Maui-Noa. Those two guys on opposite sides of the ball have to be among the best in the entire country, not just the league, and I think they're ready to do it. So I really think SMU and Miami are probably fighting for that preseason favorite second spot.
All right, now we'll get to your guys, Clemson.
Come on, there we go.
There you go. Now, it's been a couple of years. They're not the team that you were like the precursor of it, right? That was getting into prominence, and all of a sudden knocked off 2 national championships in a 3-year span. So they have taken a step back from that. What are the ingredients beyond Cade Klubnik that get them back to where they need to be?
Yeah, and just to talk about him, I think he's the best quarterback in the country. But when you have that, it's a big deal, right? And it's a really good thing. It's also a really big deal when you are surrounded with unbelievable talent. And Adam, I hate to, sit at any team and say if they don't do this, the season's a failure or the season's a bust. But it really is starting to feel like if Clemson does not make a monumental push in the postseason, which is probably a Final Four at minimum, it feels like it might be really disappointing just because everything that they have. I mean, you're talking about a superstar room at wide receiver, which head to toe there, I think is the best in the country. When you look at the three guys combined, that could go anywhere in the country outside of maybe Ohio State and be the guy. And then there's also supporting cast coming back with that. When I look at a guy like Tyler Brown, Cole Turner, that are going to be great. Tristan Smith, new transfer, they're going to be fantastic coming off the bench, or if it's a 5-wide, 4-wide wide receiver set. But led by Antonio Williams, who is just the alpha dog. TJ Moore, a lot of people very excited. He has grown tremendously body-wise. And then Bryant Wesco that just exploded onto the scene last year. Those three are as good as it gets. And when you see the work that they put in with Cade Klubnik, this offense has a chance to be the most explosive in the country, throwing the ball at a really high rate. You have an experienced quarterback, and as you mentioned, I think as well, a very good offensive line, veteran group that's played like 160-something snaps together. I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of football that they've played together, not snaps, games there. And on top of having, on the other side, an inexperienced running back in regards to being the guy, kind of the backfield that they'll have. I think they'll be good, but it's just going to be interesting to see who's the guy. When you add that together, to me, that equals throwing the ball 30-plus times, 40-plus times a game, letting Cade Klubnik do his thing, on top of having that Clemson defense that is reborn, that is re-energized with Coach Tom Allen there at the defensive coordinator position, and my brother Ben Bolware at the linebacker position. That's just been crazy, and it's been really fun to see him back. That unit, I have really, really high expectations for them as well.
Throwing 30 to 40 times a game almost sounds like modern football. Eric McLean is joining us from the from the ACC Network. Here's the thing about Clemson, because I think you hit on it at the beginning, is that when Clemson was at their best, there were dynamic wide receivers, and we see what Alabama and Georgia had become, LSU has been, right, with dynamic future NFL wide receivers. Man, it's been a minute since the Tigers have had somebody on their roster be so good that we're talking about them as a top half of the first round draft pick in the NFL. That's what Clemson, I think, has been missing as much as anything.
Yeah, no question. And I think, it's unfortunate, right? Because I don't want to say miss, because I thought the guys did admirably, but they didn't quite evolve into what you thought they would be post T. Higgins, post Amari Rodgers, post Justin Ross. When you look at, some of those guys that were there, in the 2 to 3 year stint that Clemson was kind of wandering in the desert, if you will, guys that went to Notre Dame and played in a national championship, guys in Joseph Ngata that, made an NFL roster and, did their thing, but never quite took that jump. You're absolutely right. And now they have. They've hit on the guys that have just really played well. And now, two of them, as I mentioned with TJ and Bryant, going to be just true sophomores. And, the way that they work, Clemson did a great kind of post-spring production that they just put out the other day. And seeing those guys grind was really fun. And, I think they're ready to take even another step. And, maybe 30 was an understatement. Maybe it is 40-plus times a game, because you're going to have to share the ball, right? You're going to have to keep these guys happy and, push the ball downfield. And they're that good you want to, right? There's going to be an interesting thing this year with balance in regards to Clemson might still be balanced, and yet they're throwing it significantly more. To me, balance this year is going to be, okay, if you lighten that box and you put a limited amount of linebacker and or safety help to stop the run, we can run the ball. That's what's going to be balanced for Clemson this year. Don't think of balance as 50-50 running and passing.
First of all, I think the most overemphasized, unnecessary, it's not a stat, idea is that you have to be balanced.
Yeah.
I think for me, you need to be able to run the ball when you have to run the ball. If you can do that,
That's right.
I don't care if you throw it 80 times, as long as you can run it. I really don't, because you move the ball and pick up first downs and score points however you can do it. Doesn't matter if you're balanced. You just need to know that you can run the ball when you need to run it. Eric McLean is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. When we converge on, I guess it's the Hilton in Uptown Charlotte, coming up 15 days from right now, and maybe we'll all be there Monday night. I don't know. What's the conversation about North Carolina and people looking at what we can expect from them? There are, in terms of the preseason publications, there's not a lot of mention of Carolina players in anybody's top 2 or top 3 teams. Just maybe 1 or 2 players. That's it. So what is the conversation heading into Bill Belichick year 1?
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys left, right, that probably would have been those names or could have been those names. So I think that's something that I don't know quite if we're sounding alarms, but you're paying attention to, and you're trying to figure out why, and to see who steps up there. Clearly this coaching staff knows football and knows, the ins and outs of X's and O's and things of that nature. But, you're right. Who are the guys? Who's going to step up and be ready to roll and to be contributors? And is it, guys that we maybe know about, like a Jake Johnson, or, the guys that are able to do their thing at the tight end position? Is it some guys on the defensive side of the ball? Is it a quarterback transfer that, we think can translate and we hope, at the lower levels there was a great ball player. So I am fascinated just to see. I think, kind of similar to Louisville, maybe 3 years ago it was, where North Carolina is probably going to be the team of mystery. We don't know what we're going to get from them until, we see them line up and tackle and execute and play football at a high level.
Eric McLean is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Now, final thing for you, and I'm going to go back to something you said about Clemson, because you think that it should be, at minimum, we're talking about a deep playoff run, and you said Final Four. All right. Is that even allowed if you're in the ACC? Because I'm not sure that the public discourse has basically, we only have 1.5 conferences, because the Big Ten is in some ways a charity case. But is the ACC allowed to get a team in the Final Four football?
Yeah, I do wonder if there will be some bylaws that there's an asterisk that, we have automatic qualifiers, but you can only make it past the first round and then it's over. It's automatic loss. It is such a funky thing, man. And I've heard it from a lot of different people that they love the automatic qualifiers and that some don't, because maybe that limits the amount of teams they'll get in. Or if you only do 4, if you only guarantee 4, then that further limits, maybe they could get 6 in, maybe they could get 7 in, but if you only do 4, you limit that. So it's a bizarre thing to me, man. I think we obviously are trying to grow this from a monetary standpoint, which, we all want to make money. I get it. But at the end of the day, let's find what makes the most sense. Let's get the best product out there on the field. And let's get a champion rolling. So it'll be fun to see where everything lands. I don't know how much change we're going to see in the next couple of years, but man, in the next 6, there's going to be some big old changes, I have to think. And what that is, I have no idea.
Are you a fan? First of all, do you agree we're going to go to 16?
I think that's where we get to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens like next year, but I think that's the number that a lot of people are feeling good about.
Yeah, I don't see why we would. We're going to get there eventually. You might as well just get there. I think 5 automatics and 11 at-large is where we should be to get the best teams, right?
Yeah, that's what I would like to see, and I think it makes the most sense. Now, I do like the fact – I don't want to make the automatic qualifiers the seeding-wise. I like how we're doing the straight seeding this year. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think people, if you win, X conference, you should get in, and let's see what you can do once you get there.
There you go. All right, I'll see you in the Hilton in about 15 days.
Can't wait, brother. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Eric McLean of the ACC Network. Now we have two podcasts, not only Gramlich and McLean, but we also have the Strength and Conditioning podcast. So now I've got to listen to that and get in shape. Appreciate Eric's time here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, we will rewind. And how about this? I saw this, and we're going to have to really build this up tomorrow. The Athletic ranked 100 college football rivalries. 100 college football rivalries. Which ACC team is in the most? I'll tell you that next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. Each year, 3.6 million people in the U.S. delay or skip medical care altogether simply because they can't get to a healthcare provider. From long distances to unreliable public transit to the cost of a tank of gas, it all adds up. LaPonda Edmondson, president of the North Carolina Healthcare Foundation, joins me to talk about how their social impact program is making a difference in Robeson County.
We're investing $900,000 over the course of 3 years in Robeson County. Our aim there is to be able to support these projects that address transportation as a social driver of health.
You can learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
Make this your best summer yet by having fun while staying active and engaged. AARP can help. Find AARP events near you by visiting aarp.org/local. That's aarp.org/local to find both in-person and virtual events. You can also learn more about living your best life by listening to AARP Without Limits, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Did you know Medicare fraud is costing us $68 billion a year? The NC Department of Insurance Senior Medical Patrol Program's goal is to reduce Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse. If you suspect any billing or Medicare fraud issues, we're here to help. Contact SMP today at ncshIIP.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Voted best zoo in the nation, North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens is centrally located in the heart of North Carolina. Bring your family to Asheboro for an affordable day trip or weekend excursion to connect with nature and make cherished memories. Discover towering giraffes, pouncing sandcats, and diving seabirds at the world's largest natural habitat zoo. Roam with rhinos on Zoofari or flutter by the exotic butterfly garden during your next visit. Explore more possibilities at nczoo.org.
This is Adam Gold.
I did love that Rod video with him, though, when he was trying to communicate.
Yeah, you speak hockey.
And he was like, it's okay, you don't need to know this, you know hockey. And I was like, oh, heartstrings. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria, I've already lost my bet.
Oh, no, the one that you just made.
Yep.
Oh.
Grigor Dimitrov beat Yannick Sinner in the first set 6-3.
Oh, no.
So there goes the straight sets win for Sinner. First set he has dropped at Wimbledon.
Oh, man. Well, it was a good try.
No, it wasn't. It didn't even last. It took like 26 minutes to
I
lose.
know.
6-3 in the first set for Dimitrov.
I just saw that the Canes posted 3 hours ago, the Monday after a long weekend, and it's just like guys like Robinson falling all over their feet. It's accurate.
All right, there you go.
It is a long weekend. It's fine.
By the way, Rod Brindamore will join us tomorrow.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Have you thought about your non-hockey summer topic?
Not yet,
Okay.
but we'll do a little bit about, because we have new players and whatnot, so we'll do a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about something else.
Yeah. Something else.
I'll ask him about Wimbledon.
Okay.
Or the Open Championship is in 2 weeks.
You should ask him if he watches the hot dog eating contest.
Yes!
If he knows who Joey Chestnut is. This is a great idea. And if he's ever been in a eating contest. I don't think he has been, but let's go on a limb there.
No, probably not. All right, so I saw this in The Athletic. I thought it was fascinating. And it is very, very summery in terms of, yes, you can tell it's the summer when. The top 500 street names, something silly like that. Well, The Athletic did a top 100 college football rivalries. First of all, number one, I think is easy, and I understand people are going to get mad because it's not theirs. It's Michigan-Ohio State. To me, that I agree, that is the Iron Bowl next, Auburn, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas after that, the Red River Shootout, Army, Navy 4, USC, Notre Dame 5, Nebraska, Oklahoma 6. Can we just say that if basically you haven't played in like 25 years. Now, Nebraska and Oklahoma, I think, have played occasionally lately. It's been a minute because they're not in the same conference anymore. Matter of fact, they're each in a different conference than when they were together. Oklahoma now in the SEC, Nebraska in the Big Ten. It has been in the Big Ten for a while. You just can't be one of the best rivalries now if you don't play. So we're going to kick Nebraska and Oklahoma out. USC and Notre Dame are about to not play, I believe. I believe that Southern Cal, I think, is putting an end to really one of the great rivalries in all of college sports. Southern Cal, Notre Dame football. I mean, that has been, for Notre Dame, they have something they term, I think, forever games. That's always been one for them. Whether it's that or like Notre Dame Navy has been a forever game. Now, it's not necessarily super competitive now, but traditionally, I mean, Notre Dame has played the service academies. Anyway, USC and Notre Dame is about to go away as well, unless at the 11th hour they work out a deal. Miami and Florida State. I wish these two teams were better. Because for about 15 years, this was the best game of the college football season. Was always on, I believe, the 5th Saturday or the first Saturday in October was Miami, Florida State. And there have the quality of the players who have played in this game, absolutely stunning. Miami, Florida State was always good. And then we have a lot of sort of modern. We have Ohio State, Penn State. Okay, well, now that they're both in the Big Ten, that's a big deal. I don't know that that's one of these great rivalries, frankly. If you're not playing for something, a trophy, a bronze pig, then I'm not sure it qualifies. But you got Ohio State, Penn State, Florida State, Minnesota, Wisconsin made the list. I think, isn't that Paul Bunyan's axe? Or is that Minnesota, Michigan? I don't know. I'll be able to tell there's information on it here. But anyway, to me, yes, Paul Bunyan's axe. How about that?
There you go.
There's a trivia question in there somewhere.
You knew it.
So I was looking and I was mining this list, top 100 college football rivalries for ACC influence. There is a ton. First of all, ACC school who's mentioned more than anybody else. Correct. Clemson. Clemson is listed in 5, but only two of them, as ACC rivalries. Clemson, North Carolina State, which I think is a little underranked. They had them at number 92, the Textile Bowl.
Oh, barely made it.
Yeah. And Clemson and Florida State, 52. Again, when this was the Bowden Bowl, and also we've only had like 1 year in a while where both teams have been excellent. It really helps when both teams are excellent for at least for an extended period. Hopefully we'll get back to that. But Clemson's game with Georgia, somehow Clemson, Alabama is a great college football rivalry. Okay.
If you say so.
Honestly, if you're not playing regularly, Clemson and Georgia do have non-conference games on a regular basis, but Clemson and South Carolina play every year. It's an annual game at the end. I wish they would have really gone through the rules of this a little bit better. Anyway, NC State is mentioned 3 times, Wolfpack and Clemson. The Wolfpack and Wake Forest, 86th, and NC State and UNC was, I believe, 57th. Carolina is mentioned 3 times, including the game, the Duke game, but also the Virginia game, which somehow ranked better than Carolina, NC State. I get it. The South's oldest rivalry, UNC and Virginia. I understand all that. I think it's a stretch. Anyway, North Carolina has been on this list, is on this list 3 times. Miami's only on it 3 times, which is a strange one for me.
Yeah.
Miami, Notre Dame gets mentioned. That might be for the Sports Illustrated headline, 30 years ago, Catholics versus convicts.
Mm-hmm.
Racist much? But you have that, and again, all 3 local schools. Well, say the 2 local schools. Duke is on here just with the UNC rivalry, which, yeah, I get. Duke hasn't been relevant in football for the most part ever. But the Duke-UNC rivalry, look, when you paint a bell and you trade it back and forth, and then you go and soil the other campus either in the lead-up or in reaction, I totally understand. I was missing the Central Florida-Connecticut rivalry, whatever they called that. Connecticut tried to make that a rivalry, and Central Florida just played along until they left the league. But obviously, these are mostly SEC and Big Ten rivalries, but that's okay. But if you want to have some fun with it, 100 college football rivalries, including some where you go, really? That's better than that?
Yeah. I don't know about that.
That's what ranking things is all for. Before we rewind, did I just say that right? Rewind. Somebody on Twitter put out, based on the 3 transactions Carolina made. The Hurricanes. Necas and Drury to Colorado for Rantanen. And whatever draft capital went the other way. The trade of Rantanen to Dallas for Logan Stankoven and draft capital. And then the signing of Keandre Miller. And part of that was made possible because Carolina could use either Dallas or their first-round pick in the trade. So, and Scott Morrow also went in the trade. So somebody ranked all the players involved in these three transactions and the draft capital. The draft capital is basically a wash. Carolina got, I think, a first and 2/3, came out of it with a first and 2/3, and sent away 2 seconds and a third. It's basically the same. But the personnel, those 7 players, Carolina ended, and I ranked the 7. To me, I ranked Keandre Miller 1. I think you're getting a top 4 defenseman. And a top 4 defenseman who can play 21 minutes a night, and I think that's what Miller is. That's the most valuable piece in all of this, right? What Carolina sent out, what Carolina got back. I put Necas ahead of Ehlers simply because I think, A, Necas is younger, and B, I think there is room for Marty to get to where I think he is going to be. He's had 2 70-plus point seasons, and this past year was more than a point a game. Ehlers has never done that. So I ranked Necas ahead of Ehlers, but honestly, it's debatable, so it doesn't matter to me if you flip them. Not at all. And then I chose Stankoven next, then Drury over Hall, simply because Drury is a center and a very good defensive center. And there is tremendous value in that. And if you're asking me to draft off of this list, I would take Drury before I took Taylor Hall. And then the last player was Scott Morrow, who, I mean, somebody's got to be 7th. It's him. And I said this before, I'm not entirely sure that Scott Morrow will be a night in, night out NHL starting defenseman. I think he, to me, profiles as a third pair, kind of a specialist. But, you know, maybe it'll work out for him with the Rangers in New York. So that, of course, once you rank something, people lose their minds.
Oh yeah.
Like I am not debating with anybody. I am not going back and forth. Mm-hmm. I am not wasting the time. But I thought it was all interesting.
It is.
That there, as it turned out, even though the best player is Mikko Rantanen, as it turns out, I think if you're Carolina, you did pretty well with everything that happened. I will say this before we jump into a rewind. Carolina had 2 serious things they needed to address this offseason. Right defense and center. We can have a debate as to whether or not they addressed either at this point, but maybe Rod Brindamore will help clear that up for us tomorrow. Let's rewind. We'll ask him about both of those situations. All right, E.J Hradek. I'm sorry, he used to be with ESPN. E.J Hradek from NHL Network, who's hosting today. If Nick Ehlers performs well offensively, this is the most recent thing, right? $8.5 million, not a big deal. I asked him how he looked at the signing.
Well, it seemed like, again, it was like Gavrikov coming to the Rangers.
Right.
Like, everybody kind of knew it was happening. For whatever reason, it was in the cards. And it seemed like the same way with Nick Ehlers, even though he waited a couple of days. It seemed like the thinking was that he's going to Carolina. And that's how it ended up, albeit a couple of days. And the contract didn't quite look, maybe because you say, like, you're right, I would think why not get that 7th year, especially, for a player that by that point in time, probably would love to have that
right.
7th year. But maybe the team held firm on that. And I don't. Nick isn't. He's been a good player, but he's not Mitch Marner. He's not going to hold you up for a 7th year. I think there was probably a lot. Other teams that were talking to him probably didn't want to give him a 7th
right.
year. It's a lot. So especially with. In the new CBA down the road, when that gets papered, this idea of, that's going to go down anyway, right? Like you're going to be able to get, it's not going to be 8 and 7 for guys. It's going to be 7 and 6. So whatever the reason, he's at 6 years. He's the guy I think that fits, just like Keandre Miller. I think he fits what you want to do in Carolina. He's a really good skater. Every once in a while he gets banged up, so that's been more so over the last, I think 2 years, so he's missed some games in there. But he's a good offensive player. He's a good skater. I think he fits what they want to do. And the best part of it is, Adam, he wants to be there.
Yeah.
He wanted to be there. He's, he had the choice. He could have went anywhere. He had a lot of options, I'm sure, and he opted to go there. So I think that's always a great thing for any franchise, and particularly a franchise where there have been situations where the player doesn't want to be there. So. I think it's been a good free agency period to get players that fit and seem happy to be there. And, we'll see how it works in the end.
All right. So he's obviously Mikko Rantanen didn't want to be here. Jake Ensel did, but it didn't work out. We've relitigated that ad nauseum. I do wonder, based on 6 years, and I don't know if Carolina would even admit to this or not, if ultimately the contract wasn't $7.5 million a year, but the Hurricanes said, let's do one less year, but we'll tack on more money. I wonder. Or I wonder if the number was ultimately 8 and say, hey, we'll go a little bit more if we shave 1 year off the deal. I don't know. But 6 years seems like an odd... Like, it's long. That's a long contract. But it could have been 1 year longer, and I'm just curious as to why we didn't go the full. We went 8 with Keandre Miller. I mean, that could be age too. But we went 8 for Keandre Miller. And here's what I said this on the podcast that I did yesterday, and it's available wherever you get your podcast, Canes Corner podcast. So subscribe, like, rate, review. If I'm Rod, and again, we're going to talk to him tomorrow, so maybe we'll get into this. When you don't want to put the pressure of having to automatically be a top 4 defenseman in front of Alexander Nikishin. So maybe it's Slavin, Miller, Nikishin down the left, and it's Chatfield, Walker, and Gostisbehere right now down the right. Maybe that's it. Who knows? Victoria, thank you very much. I'm Adam. We'll see you tomorrow.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Black isn't just a color. It's the presence of